Oi, you got a license for that stream, mate? Might. Yo, how's it going, guys? We good? Yes, we're doing a bit of politics today. I can't do my normal stream today because I'm taking a, well, I am addicted to streaming. I've got a problem. I'm going to be back on Sunday, okay? I'm going to be back on Sunday, definitely. And if something crazy's happened, maybe earlier. But we'll see. But I'm definitely not streaming today. I can't stream today. Yeah, we'll do some Nige 10. We'll get it all done. It's going to be great. Oh, what's all the... Oh! Yo! Raid Shadow Legends. Champions Chase. Oh, I'll be good at that, won't I? Hey? Champions Chase Tournament. I'll be absolutely great at that. I'll just put the raid goal up because, you know, we're going to try and get some raids in while we can. Raid jump scare. Shout out to the bongers. Shout out to the bongers. Oh, but yeah, we're going to have just a kind of relaxed look at the British election, see what's going on. Champion Chaser. Oh, that's the wrong thing. But yeah, no, it should be a good laugh. I've got a few hours, probably about 3 hours or so until I got to go. Oh, how's it going anyway? Dude, there's not really that much happening at the moment, I feel. It's all a bit quiet, isn't it, you know? I'm in this tab. Abby Blackbird, I'm in this tab. Pick me. Today's a learning stream for me. Yeah, I believe that Raid was made in Israel, if I recall correctly. But you know, what so what does that mean exactly? What's the problem with that, I wonder? But yeah, no, it's all a bit quiet at the moment. I'm a bit like, what are we even going to do in a normal stream? Hopefully, someone gets molested soon or something, and then we can actually have something juicy to get into. But yeah, so UK election, eh? What's all that about? Anyone know? Anyone know what the UK election is all about? Can anyone explain it to me? Insert Turkey Tom meme. Well, I saw some people were complaining about Turkey Tom's latest video. Because I think it was just like a very, like, yeah. It's one of those videos that's kind of like, oh, there's not much else going on, so we'll just we'll sling that on. Hey, thank you for the $8 Australian for Big Greg's campaign fund. Now then. I don't like immigrants. I don't like Muslims. My campaign policy is we send them all back. Send them all ready home. But yeah, 7 banned YouTubers who everyone forgot. I mean, you know, I can't really hate the game. I'm not like that bothered about it personally, but some people are complaining about it, and it's like, well, yeah, there's not massive amounts of things happening right now as of the 14th of June, 2024, you know? For like a main channel video for Tom. I will be shilling a bit more today. Normally I don't really shill on the second channel streams, but because I'm not streaming as normal, we'll be doing a little bit of shilling. Pounds, shilling and pence. Yes, exactly. It's like a Sunny V2 video. Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. Exactly that. You get me? You feel me? But yeah, no, it's you know, sometimes you just got to have a slop day. What do they call it in TV? It's one of those things where you just kind of like have a filler episode. You know what I mean? It's like yeah. It's like in Breaking Bad. You know, in Breaking Bad, where they just had an episode that was kind of set in a shitty place. You know, it's a bit like that. You feel me? You feel me? You get me? You get me? You get me? Yes, bottle episode. That's it. That's the one. Oh, flashback episode is another one. Yeah, where they just have like Simpsons did this a few times, where they just go back to previous episodes, and new content is like 5 minutes, and the rest of it is just flashbacks. Yeah, yeah. Or when they did an episode in Breaking Bad where they were just in a lab for the whole episode. I think that's where I learned about it. But yeah, there we go, guys. That's the drama for today. Turkey Tom. People don't like the fact he's done that video. End of drama. Nah, dude, there's actually some pretty major news in the UK election. So for those of you that don't know, there's two main parties. The Labour Party, which is the more lefty party. Traditionally, it's been more of a socialist, further left-wing party. But under Tony Blair and then what was called New Labour, they basically brought in like a new paradigm, which was third way politics, which is like a blend of socialism and capitalism. Which, you know, had its upsides and downsides. And since then, you know, it's mainly been along those lines. But then when Jeremy Corbyn took over, he took the party in a further left direction. But that wasn't very popular. He wasn't very popular. So Keir Starmer, who was actually a Corbyn ally when Corbyn was in charge of the Labour Party, when he took the reins, he slowly transitioned and moved back towards a more Blairite, New Labour style Labour Party, a more kind of centrist Labour Party, which obviously the lefties don't like. But, you know, at the end of the day, the Tories have been in power for 14 years. And obviously that kind of politics isn't that interesting to people, unfortunately. So it's kind of the only way that I think there's a feasible path to Labour actually getting any fucking political power. So, yeah, I don't know. You've got to kind of take the rough with the smooth. You've got Conservatives, who are a traditional right-wing party. The Conservatives have traditionally been obviously the party of the right, of individual responsibility, of actual neoliberalism, not fucking gay, everything I don't like is neoliberalism. But under Thatcher, it became a very kind of market, like a market-driven political party. But over recent kind of decades, they've become more woke, to be honest with you. That's the simplest way I can think of explaining it. Whereas they used to stand for traditional conservative values. One of the kind of hallmarks of the recent Conservative Party is a move towards more liberal social values. So like support for gay marriage came in under Cameron. David Cameron, Conservative Prime Minister, actually is the person that got gay marriage passed. You know, immigration has soared. That's not really a woke thing, so to speak, but it's more of an economic thing. But immigration has soared under the Tories. They've had subsequent political scandals, which we talked a bit about last time. And, you know, now people on the right, a lot of Tory voters are not happy with the Conservatives. They feel they've gone woke. They feel they've let a bunch of immigrants in, and they've not really stood for the traditional conservative values that they like. So those are the two major parties. You got the Liberal Democrats, who are basically like were the third party, or are still technically the third party, but they're kind of falling foul to another party, nipping at their heels. But the Liberal Democrats are, you know, they're the party that basically, David Mitchell said this on a TV show once, but they're a party where they can just propose whatever they want and they'll never have any significant political power to implement it. The only time they've really had decent political power in recent years is when they had a coalition government with the Conservatives, and there's a bunch of stuff they said they wouldn't do that they ended up doing because the Conservatives wanted to do it. So a lot of people don't like them. And then, probably most interestingly of all, for me at least in this election cycle, is the Reform Party, who up until recently was led by someone called Richard Tice, I think his name is. It it was set up as the Brexit Party to put pressure to leave the EU, essentially. And then after that, it changed to the Reform Party. It pushed anti-lockdown policies. Nigel Farage set it up after he left UKIP because there was a bunch of controversy associated with UKIP around the time of Sargon of Akkad. And yeah, basically now they're like a populist right-wing party. And they are fucking causing a firestorm. They're going insane, right? The Liberal Democrats have been the third party in the UK for years, and they are nipping at their heels. I think they might have even overtaken them in some polling. And they're mainly pulling votes from Conservatives, but they are pulling a few votes from Labour as well. You know, more traditional, socially conservative Labour voters are probably thinking about voting for them. And their big issue is immigration, and they want to reduce immigration to net zero with exclusions on certain jobs or something. So that's their big issue. Oh my God, what is this? Anyway,
you're very moderate, Mr. Farage.
So one thing that's happening is obviously, you know, the Reform Party, Nigel Farage gets a lot of shit, and he's obviously like an anti-immigrant kind of advocate, and he didn't like the EU. But if you actually listen to what he says, he's not as bad as people make him out to be sometimes. But the problem is his party obviously just gets inundated with absolute fucking kooks, right? That say crazy shit, and it causes loads of controversy because they're the kind of furthest right party where there's some chance of like some political power, maybe. But they often have lots of kooks that get attracted to them. It's a bit like fucking UKIP is the same, where you get all these fucking crazies that go to it and they say wild shit that make the party look terrible. Anyway, let's see what he had to say about some of his candidates' comments.
Why is it, according to research done by one newspaper, The Times, that nearly 1 in 10 candidates for your party is friends on Facebook with Gary Rakes? Now, he's the British fascist leader.
Yeah, I'd never heard of Gary Rakes until yesterday, had you?
Oh, no!
No. Well, there you are. There you are. So we have, I mean, don't forget, I've come in right at the last minute. We have not had time to do full vetting of candidates. It's been impossible for us, all right? And I'd admit that. We had a plan. We didn't have time. Now, hang on, listen to me.
Go ahead.
On Facebook...
To be fair, listen, I'm a Labour voter, to be clear, okay? So that's where I stand. I don't agree with the Reform UK politics or anything like that. But I do understand, like, they've had to bring together all these candidates. Because basically how it works in the UK, it's not like the US, where you've got a like a cycle. Every 4 years, you have an election, right? In the UK, I'm pretty sure that you can call for an election at any point, presuming... Yeah, I think at any point you can just call for an election. There's no default time frame with which, you know, people have time to prepare and stuff like that, right? So, you know, obviously the Conservatives had the kind of upper hand because they're the ones that are going to call it, so they know. Labour obviously have got the existing infrastructure politically to know kind of roughly what candidates they're going to be fielding. Whereas Reform are totally like on the back foot. They don't know when it's going to happen. I'm not streaming tomorrow, no. I'm off tomorrow. And I'll be back on Sunday. But yeah, they don't know when it's going to happen. So an election's called and they've got to bring together a bunch of candidates, you know, out of nowhere, essentially, because they're not an established political party. So they end up with a bunch of kooks and retards who say stupid shit on social media and do completely politically destructive things, like be friends with a fucking fascist on Facebook, when the whole point is they want to move away from that sort of image and they don't want to be connected to the further right. And yeah, I do kind of feel it's difficult. It is a difficult situation that they're in. So I do feel for the kind of, you know, the rush to get candidates, and then you end up with a couple of kooks or maybe more than that. And yeah. No, not on my main channel today. Just this stream today, and then I'll be off until Sunday.
Mates send each other things.
Yep.
They like things, not having any idea where it comes from. And I can only apologise to your listeners that
they've been around since 2016. That's true. But they don't have the same financing and the same money, and they also don't have an established base of like political candidates to draw from, like Labour does or the Conservatives do. So they've existed since 2016, but they don't have the same base of people to draw on, like the major parties do. So they're like on the back foot essentially. Basically, this party has done insane shit, and I don't agree with them. I'm not a reform guy, okay? I'm, as I say, a Labour voter, but it's undeniable that they have done crazy shit, considering the time they've had, the resources they've got, and stuff like that. You know, it's pretty impressive politically speaking. But yeah, unfortunately, the the kooks enter.
That not all of our candidates have been to Eton. Not all of our candidates have been to Oxford. Not all of our candidates are part of the London set. And people like things on Facebook without having a clue where they come from. And you, like me, have never heard of Gary Rakes before yesterday.
No, okay, Mr. Farage, but I'm not leader of a political party seeking, of course, to gain votes for the country. And what strikes me is you have this, and I know you are the bloke down the pub with a wet Labrador, a barber jacket and mustard corduroy trousers.
Sounds about right.
Exactly right. Drinking a pint of Spitfire, looking back at the great days of empire and Winston Churchill and storming the beaches. But you've got about 1 in 10 people who have Nazi sympathies.
That is utter cobblers, and you know it. I've explained this to you. People chuck stuff around on Facebook and they like comments. If you didn't know who Gary Rakes is, how could our guys know?
Why has the vetting failed?
Bro, okay, listen. Look, I understand it's a bit gay to like follow police or whatever you want to talk about, right? But being friends with some fascist guy on Facebook is like political suicide in the UK. Like, why the fuck are you letting people on board? I mean, again, I think it's a time issue for them, but you cannot have people who are in your populist right-wing party being mates with fascists or connected with fascists in any way. That's insane, and you'll get fucking torn to shreds for it, you know?
Let me take you to a candidate called Steve Chilcott.
Never heard of him.
Standing in London.
Never heard
Islam
of him.
and Nazis are the same thing. Sean Matthews standing in the seat in Lincolnshire, talking about children having their penises chopped off. If we come back to Hitler references, I could go through so many of your candidates.
Oh my God, dude.
I think
Jake Fraser in Cheshire.
people being alarmed about
gender stuff,
sex conversion therapy for children. I mean, you think you'll find that's quite a big majority view, actually.
Let's
Nick.
come back.
Oh, most of your listeners are
he's pushing
about
back.
I bet you.
Jake Fraser in Cheshire. The British public is like. There's a health holocaust, is what COVID was. John Edwards, who's standing in one of the Southampton seats. Vaccine producers are like Nazi armament companies. I could go on and on and on.
Well, do you know what?
Wait, what did he say?
John Edwards, who's standing in one of the Southampton seats. Vaccine producers are like Nazi armament companies.
Oh no! I know people might think that sounds based, but I'm telling you, that's going to do very well with a certain component of the voter base. But most people are going to hear that and think, yeah, this guy's a fucking kook. Like, they're not going to vote for someone who says crazy shit like that, you know?
Could go on and on and on.
Well, do you know what?
No. These are posts of candidates that are standing as part of Nigel Farage's political party. This is like a senator, someone running for a senator, and they've said shit like that on social media, right? I mean, to be honest with you, in America, that would probably sell quite well, I reckon. That would probably do quite well.
Your image is carefully honed.
Do you know what?
Your army behind you.
I've never honed an image in my life. I'm who I am. I've never pretended to be anything different to what I am.
These are
they're ordinary people. That's how people out there speak. That's how they feel.
Ordinary people,
they
Mr.
express
Farage, say
on
Islam
Facebook,
and Nazis are the same thing.
Well, I can tell you something.
Go on.
Churchill. No, stop. Do you know why Churchill?
Here we go.
In 1933. Was almost the only person to see Hitler as a threat, because he'd seen it with fanatical Islam when he fought against it in the 1890s. Now, we've moved on, we're 80 years on, but people are allowed to have opinions. People are allowed to express views.
You're not supporting the idea that Islam and Nazis. Just to clarify there, Mr. Farage.
No, I'm scared of all fanaticisms.
You're equally scared of Islam as you would
be...
No.
You're making a very big mistake
I'm asking
here.
you.
I'm not talking about Islam.
Okay.
At all. In fact...
But your candidate is Islam and Nazis are the same thing.
A very, very prominent...
They both want to kill Jews. They both hate homosexuals.
A very prominent businessman who happens to be a follower of Islam has joined our party this week. I'll be unveiling him next week. the vast majority of moderate Muslims in this country agree with similar principles to you and me. What is worrying is Islamism, extremism. And I tell you what, most Islamic people would agree with that statement.
Okay. See, the thing is, Nigel Farage is able to present it in a more palatable way, right? Which is, is Islamism, fanaticism. That's something that any person that supports liberal values, should be against. But these fucking kooks, they're not very good at expressing themselves. I mean, it's true. Some of them are just regular dudes who, a bit like your racist uncle or something, and they've just been thrust into this political arena with all these insane posts that sound terrible. But yeah, it's pretty funny.
Okay, lastly on this, you have one candidate, Ian Gibbins, who seems to have totally the contrary view as you to concerns Winston Churchill. It would have been far better if Britain had taken Hitler up on his offer of neutrality.
Well, that's what most of the cabinet thought in 1939, 40.
Can we talk about 2024?
Well, I think the Daily Mail thought that quite strongly at the time.
Can we talk
it's
about
a blooming stupid thing to say, and no question.
Is he going to be disciplined?
What can you do? His name's on the ballot. His name's on the ballot paper. I can't remove it.
Gone raving mad?
I've got more time to spend than to talk to someone like that.
Let's go to some more calls. Jacqueline is in Oldham again. Jacqueline, you're on the radio. Good morning.
Good morning. Hi. Good morning, Nigel. How would you reform the civil service?
Go to war. I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, this Conservative government, do you know, there are 600,000 more civil servants now than there were in 2019, despite the fact it was...
Yeah, exactly. It's like they put Big Greg on the ballot, isn't it? Oh, I know that I've got a lot of racists that enjoy watching me, and they probably think some of those things are based, but but yeah, I mean, to the general electorate, that is the stuff that people really don't like to hear, Yeah, they do. They do need... they do. And in fact, I was listening to I think it's deputy leader of Reform, and he was like, 40s maybe, something like that. He's like a gay guy as well, which is quite interesting. Because I'm pretty sure those people making those comments probably don't think too fondly of the old gays. But yeah, he was actually quite well presented, put his points across well, and he sounded a lot better. That's the kind of people they need at the forefront of the party. These fucking kooks just won't do. They're retarded. They're just retarded. I mean, to be fair, they're not really expecting to have their Facebook posts scrutinised. Can't they just have one bloke that goes through the candidates' Facebook pages? Well, the parties have that. Labour, Conservatives, they have, the infrastructure to do that kind of checking. So, for example, Labour were scrutinising candidates to make sure there wasn't any weird anti-Semitic type shit, because they didn't want any possible claim that they're fielding like anti-Semitic candidates. But the problem for Reform in their defence is they just don't have the resources and time like the big parties have got to actually do this. And the big parties have probably done a lot of it already. They've probably already done the checks, and they know what candidates they're going to field, and they know, what they've said and what they haven't said on social media. Whereas, it's just like, we're gonna big Greg in fucking, I don't know, in Manchester is gonna be on the ballot. You check his Facebook post, and it's like the fucking National Front, or the British Nazi Party likes the British Nazi Party or whatever on fucking on Facebook. That's an interesting angle. Reform has the resources to actually do a basic background check on their social media. It's just they wouldn't have any candidates left if they did. Do you think so? Fucking hell, maybe. Maybe it's just... How many are they fielding?
Brexit election when we were supposed to get rid of regulations. Sunak ran as party leader, promising to get rid of 4,000 EU laws. Do you know what he did? Cancelled it. So I'm afraid the bureaucratic state in some ways has got worse, not better, under a Conservative government. It would appear... It's very interesting. There was a Home Office, a report in the Telegraph.
One person can do it all in 2 weeks. Yeah, but it's barely been 2 weeks since the election was called. Nah, I don't know, man. I think that's quite an enormous task. Because bear in mind, look, right, if you got to look all everyone's social media, right? Someone's Facebook account, that's a very intricate process. Like, you have to go, like, I mean, I've not used Facebook properly for ages. I go in and looking at likes and what they've looked at and liked and what pages they follow and stuff. You know, even down to what posts they've commented on, comments they've made in response. Like, dude, it just feels like an absolutely enormous task. Yeah, and if they're like a prolific user, and obviously a lot of these people are fucking boomer retards as well, so they probably are just on Facebook and endlessly posting racist memes, you know, until it comes to this, and then it's like, oh shit, well that's I don't know.
In the week, saying that people on a Home Office WhatsApp group were talking about inflicting violence on me. We haven't got a neutral civil service. They're utterly politicised, and we need to get back to where we were in the 80s. Where ministers decide and civil servants implement, and it seems to be the other way around. Big reduction in numbers, which we can get if we start to deregulate.
Which department would you target first?
Every single one of them. Well, if you could find them, because they're normally working from home, of course.
On the subject of your security, The Sun reports that you've been offered private security by the Home Office after, as I've referenced earlier, you have been the unfortunate victim of 2 attacks already. Will you avail yourself of that, Mr. Farage?
Well, I don't discuss my personal security situation, but I will say this: that in one day, 2 days ago, I was in Barnsley.
I've got to say, I find it so, like, the fact that the leader of a political party, regardless of what you think of his politics, is getting attacked in the street. That's fucking crazy. And lefties are fucking cheering it on. Are you literally brain dead? What if it was the fucking Green Party leader? What would you be saying then, retard? Would you be like, oh, yeah, based, chuck some shit at this person? It's so fucking insufferable, dude. Back to the 80s, back to Thatcher. I think Farage is a big Thatcher stan, obviously. But yeah. I think he's just talking about the idea that currently, in the current day, it's like, the deep state idea, right? That it doesn't matter who's head of the government. There's people that are in, administrative, bureaucratic positions that don't change with the changing of the guard. So, like, there's non-political roles that exist, if that makes sense. It's basically the same idea with this. So, the civil servant is like the administrative arm of the government. And even though you might have the Tories, Conservatives, whatever, there's obviously individuals with their own political views. And the argument is that they have some sway over, over it. So I think they're trying to say that they want to go back to when it was a bit more like they just do what they're told. They don't have any influence, which people claim they've got now. But yeah, exactly. It could be acid. It could be an acid attack. Dude, it's so crazy to me that people are, bigging this up and cheering this on. I'm absolutely amazed that this is still a thing that people think is good.
I was in Ashfield, I was in Great Yarmouth and Kent. Can you imagine how big a security team that is? And, a lot of people were involved that day to try and keep me safe. And the Home Office, with the best will in the world, want to help a little bit, but they couldn't cover that.
So you won't be availing yourself of that?
If they want to help us, that's fine. But I need something much bigger than they can offer.
Do you ever get scared?
Thoughtful. Yeah, of course. I mean, how can you not? How can you not be a little bit thoughtful?
If I saw something heading towards, I'd be petrified. I don't know what it is. It could be acid. I don't know what's coming my way.
Well, I know. I mean, Nick, I do get thoughtful, but I can't.
Why do you choose that word, thoughtful rather than scared?
I cannot let these people win. If not, if they win, I'll hold.
Dude, even if you're a completely psychotic freak, okay? Even if you're a completely psycho retard freak who thinks that, like, assaulting a leader of a political party is a good idea, right? Surely from a pragmatic perspective, you must see that this stuff only bolsters support for Farage, right? Like, God, it's like such a basic concept. These people are like children. They're like fucking children that throw their toys out the pram and can't just use ideas and arguments to make their fucking point, dude. It's insane. All you're doing is helping Farage every time you support him, every time you assault him, because people like look at him as like a more of a martyr type figure, don't they? God, it's so insufferable. But I mean, just on a basic level, no, you should not be, assaulting leaders of political parties. It's the classic, like they make it that he's a bad guy enough that you can just attack him in the street and that's okay because he's like Hitler or something, God, it's so insufferable.
Democracy is under threat.
We've had 2 MPs murdered in the last 10 years or so. It's crazy.
As well as I do now, you used to do it here with great success. Rachel in Bexley. Other countries are saying they would recognise Palestine. Is this something Nigel Farage would support, Mr. Farage?
Oh, here we go. Zio Farage. Let's see what Zio Farage has got to say about this.
Not all the while Hamas would run it, no.
Okay.
I mean, the idea of a two-state solution, of course, is ideal, but we have to get to a position where we think that Palestine will be a legitimate state. Right at the moment, I question that.
Guy in Winchester, hearing some of your candidates' background is truly horrifying. Why don't you deselect them?
I can't. They are legally on the ballot. I can disown them. But they are legally.
Let's turn deselect to disown.
Yeah, I mean, I may well do that. I haven't had time to think. I've been doing this job 9 days.
I won't read it all to you again. But
A lot of the stuff you're criticising is how ordinary folk down the pub speak.
I'm sorry, Islam and Nazis. I'm sorry, I've got to come back to that, Nigel Farage.
Well, Winston Churchill clearly was a very bad man because he thought exactly the same.
So he's not going to get deselected or disowned or anything.
I doubt it. I can't. They're going to be on the ballot paper anyway.
All right, okay.
And by the way, because of a snap election, the Greens have got horrendous problems. All the parties have got horrendous problems.
It's not a race to the bottom, though, is it, of course?
No. Look.
Well, I mean, it's true about the Greens. Obviously, the Green Party is like, it's like the Greens in the US. So they're very much like an anti-Israel bent. But obviously, as you all know, it's, oftentimes anti-Israel can become just anti-Jewish. I've not actually. We should look at some of the Green Party stuff, man. That'd be fun. I wonder what their candidates are up to. But anyway, look at this attack, man. This is crazy. Look. Bro, look, just chucking stuff at him out the bin. And look, just some random builders accost him and get him. How based is that? I don't think it's a brick, no. But it could be. Look. Coppers are on him. Yo, hey! Hey! What did Farage
now we go
have
back
to say?
To our breaking news story. The Reform leader, Nigel Farage, has had building rubble thrown at him on the campaign trail in South Yorkshire.
Let's get the very latest with our Home and Security editor, Mark White, who joins us now. Now, Mark, you've spoken to Nigel about precisely what happened. What went on?
Well, he was on a campaign bus going through Barnsley town centre when someone in the crowd started throwing objects from a building construction site just by the side of the road. Here you can see Nigel on the top of that bus and then items being thrown. There was a coffee cup, which seems maybe innocuous enough, items taken out of that bin there. Wet cement, we believe, was thrown at him. Mr Farage believes that perhaps stones were thrown towards him.
Wet cement? Fuck. That's like... If you get cement on you, that could actually cause like a burn, couldn't it? Wet cement, though, where did he get that from?
As well, you can see that the police very quickly catch up with this individual and apprehend him. According to South Yorkshire Police, a 28-year-old man was arrested.
Bro, all the lefties that are cheering this on, I'd love to see their reaction to, a Green Party person or something getting attacked. I guarantee you it'd be a very different fucking story. And if they were black or some sort of minority or trans, okay, that would also get fucking invoked, wouldn't it? Oh, it's a racist, transphobic attack on it. Fuck off, dude. GB News. I mean, yeah, I don't know, man. It's obviously very, very biased. I don't know what to tell you. But I mean, what take is there except, yeah, it's kind of fucked to see a candidate get attacked like this, and people shouldn't do that.
On suspicion of causing criminal damage on a public order offence. He has now been taken into custody. Now, Nigel Farage was interviewed very briefly just after this incident unfolded, and he expressed his frustration and also his concern about just how far people that want to make a point like this are prepared to go. This is what he said.
I tell you what I'm worried about.
Let me just make sure it's the right one.
If you think about this, a week after we commemorate D-Day, which was done so that we could live in a democracy, where we can agree to disagree, we can be very passionate, but agree to disagree. What we've now got is a mob that want to close down all debate.
Oh my God, dude. Farage is so good at this. Dude, he's like a fucking political dude. This is like exactly the correct response. And this is going to connect with so many people. It's no wonder they're roaring through the fucking polls when some fucking retard chucks shit at him and then he comes out and just says, you know, debate is important, violence to shut down ideas is bad.
That are prepared to use violence to achieve their goals. And that, for a democratic country, is very, very worrying indeed.
Be okay.
Me? Yeah. I'm used to it.
Oh, dude!
I don't like it.
Bro, I'm used to it.
This is stopping me doing what I want to do. You know, I'm at my best going out, meeting people and talking to them, having debate with them. You know, going around the pubs or whatever I do. And these violent youngsters are stopping me. It's very, very frustrating.
It didn't hit you this time?
Didn't hit me this time, but yeah, I mean, you do wonder to what length these people will go.
And that's a point, I think, that he's trying to make, is just how far will people be prepared to go in trying to make that point. He's clearly laughing it off in a sense, but he is obviously deeply frustrated because his campaigning style takes him right out face-to-face with the public, but he's not the only politician doing that now because we are in this general election campaign.
Like savage beasts.
So all MPs are out, all politicians and candidates are out there meeting the electorate and trying to get their message across and potentially putting themselves in harm's way.
Dude, I remember like 10 years ago when it was more like you debated Farage and shit like that, right? Like I'm talking a decade ago or so, you know, maybe a bit earlier than that. Like him and his party and stuff was seen as a joke, you know, like probably a bit longer than that, 2010. Like UKIP were mocked a lot. People took the piss out of them and stuff like that. But I feel like there's been a more populist bent, but also all these attacks just make him look better. Just fucking, dude, use your words. Stop acting like a fucking child. You know, literally throwing shit at someone because you don't get your way. It's insane.
Difficult one for the police, the security services, to know where the threats lie. And often when it's a spontaneous...
And that is, yeah, exactly. Well, it's funny because Cameron said that, but then he basically ceded ground to them by doing the Brexit referendum because he was worried he was going to lose margin to... Was it UKIP? I think it was UKIP at the time in 2015, right? The Brexit Party came after that, I think. 2019 was the Brexit Party. But yeah, dude, it's fucking crazy, like, to see what they've done in the last, this election, over the last few years. Yeah, it's pretty mental.
Event like this incident in Barnsley, or a week ago in Essex, where a milkshake was thrown over Mr. Farage, then it's difficult to guard against that. And although you can see from the pictures there that milkshake, of course, Mr. Farage's detractors no doubt sort of laughing and cackling about this, but the fact is it could happen to any politician, and it might not just be something as innocuous as a milkshake. We've seen in Europe, in Slovakia, in Germany, some really quite violent incidents where politicians have been targeted by those that disagree with them.
Dude, there's been two in the last, I think 12 years or so. I can't remember the time frame of it. But yeah, there's been two British MPs have been murdered. you know, and it's like we forget about that and cheer on someone getting assaulted like this. It's like, oh, crazy. Anyway, yeah, John Prescott. This is a classic. Bro, he fucking whacked him. Bro, crazy. Fuck me. That's a politician doing that. Crazy. He was ready. But yeah, crazy stuff. Right, what are the Green candidates? What are they saying? What's the name of someone that said a name earlier? Is that a good one? What was the guy's name from the Green Party? Oh, Zach Polanski guy. No, I've not seen this guy. Has he been in some controversy? This other Greens can win. 11 months ago. Zach Polanski. What am I looking for? What's he done? Oh. I can't... Here we go. Is this him? He looks fairly normal.
You are suggesting, as part of your health and social care policy, that you want an extra £50 billion per year by 2030 to pay for it. What is it, and where will you get the money from?
Yes, so we need to defend our National Health Service. For 14 years, there's been massive austerity and underinvestment in the National Health Service. And we hear stories time and time again of patients in beds, of people not being able to get care, and certainly not being able to see it.
Dude, the Green Party and the Reform Party too, they can say whatever the fuck they want. It doesn't really make any difference because they're never going to get any significant power, you know? So I never really take what the Greens Manifesto or whatever particularly seriously because like we're never going to get to do it. So you could say literally anything.
A GP on the same day when they need it. And before that, from the Labour Party, we had private finance initiatives that have left a lot of those trusts and cares in massive, huge debt. So politicians need to be really honest with the public and say this isn't about moving small pots of money. Ultimately, we need this huge investment. Now, your question is totally fair. Where are we going to get that money from? Well, if we tax the wealthy, and I'm talking about multimillionaires and billionaires, just a modest 1% on assets of over £10 million or more, as well as bringing capital gains tax in line with income tax. At the moment, we're taxing unearned income less than we're taxing earned income, and that seems unfair. Taking all of these measures together raises about £40 to £60 billion a year that we could put straight back into our National Health Service for real hope and real change.
So you're putting taxes up then?
Taxes on the super wealthy, and actually there's a group of patriotic...
You just think back to the Lib Dem student-free promise, and they got as far as coalition. Yeah. And they walked that back because the Conservatives wanted to put up tuition fees. Yeah. Classic UK politics moment. Anyway, listen, if there's any Green Party this guy looks like he's talking about fairly standard politics shit. Yeah, it's classic Green Party shit, isn't it? We'll just tax. I don't know. I'm a big tax believer. Okay. But yeah, I don't know, man. It just seems fucking retarded. Yeah, we'll just tax these people, tax that people. What if people don't want to be taxed? They'll just leave, won't they? Isn't that a problem? If you increase taxes too much, wealthy people are just like, well, I'm going to fuck off somewhere else then. Where's Fortnite? So it is a balance. You know, you need to tax at a level that is fair and you know, gives the economy what it needs, whilst also not scaring the fucking wealthy people to fuck off and then take all their money with them. And that's true as well. Like, there's lots of schemes that wealthy people use in order to circumvent. I mean, and some of it's legal, some of it's perfectly legal, and it's little schemes and stuff they can put their money in to reduce their tax liability, right? But yeah, it's a delicate balance, that's for sure. Anyway, listen, if you've got any Green Party controversies, I'll have a look at it, because I love hearing about all the kooks and the crazy shit they're up to. But yeah, we got some pretty wild stuff here. This is the UK polling. Wait, where's the graph? Oh, here we go. So yeah, I mean, this is pretty major news. It's still not like, you know, I mean, it's so yeah, Reform are polling just ahead of the Tories, which is insane. You know, considering that they're kind of on the back foot, and yeah, I mean, it's pretty impressive work from them. It is, yeah, it is. They, you know, obviously it's not, what is it, fucking, it doesn't mean that they're definitely going to win a bunch of seats, necessarily. Because this is just, I think, this is like the popular vote stuff, right? You need to look at individual, because the problem is a lot of people will vote for Reform, but then there won't be enough votes in particular areas to get the candidates past the line to actually get them into office. So they'll probably only end up with a handful of seats, despite having, I don't know, probably 3 or 4 million votes, I would guess, probably. Yeah, it does. It does suck. We had a referendum. We had a referendum on proportional representation, and it didn't work. People, for some reason, like first past the post. Is Sargon running? No. Sargon isn't running. No. The Nigel sweep. Oh, what's this other Nige tent that you've linked to me? Dude, these are insane. Bro, look at my face. It's all stretched. Oh, this is relevant to what we were just looking at.
I'm just about to go on the ITV Leaders Debate in 20 minutes. The Times, with YouGov, have just published a poll. We have now overtaken the Conservatives. We're in second position in the country. In fact, we're leading the Conservative Party in every single region apart from Scotland. This is the inflection point. The only wasted vote now is a Conservative vote. We are the challengers to Labour, and we're on our way. I'm just about to go on the ITV Leaders Debate in 20 minutes. The Times, with YouGov, have just...
Bro! Oh, there's a Leaders Debate. Yesterday. Well, I don't want to watch all of it. It's, you know, quite a lot. But we'll watch the highlights.
Well, the Plaid Cymru leader was among 7 senior politicians sparring in tonight's ITV election debate. Angela Rayner was there representing Labour and found herself under fire from multiple angles. Her back and forth with the Tories' Penny Mordaunt dominated parts of the discussion as they clashed on immigration, a subject one attendee was all too happy to discuss. Nigel Farage started the evening in a buoyant mood after a poll suggested his party now led the Conservatives.
3 weeks. Yeah, so basically, some of these debates, Keir's done one. I think he's done just one. And it was actually a bit of a mixed performance from Keir, I think. But yeah, I mean, often they'll send their underlings to do these sorts of things, you know. Although, in fact, probably the biggest kind of fumble so far, I should probably say as well before we get into this. But so basically, long story short, there was obviously recent kind of D-Day commemorations in France. And obviously, as you can imagine, that's an enormous deal because it's considered the kind of turning point of World War II. And, of course, Conservatives in particular and right-wingers put a lot of kind of stock into those events because it's like, well, that's a shining moment for our country. We turn it around against the Nazis. You know, we beat the Nazis. And the other thing, too, is because it's, 80 years on since D-Day, obviously the youngest lads that were there were probably like 18 or 19. So a lot of them are turning 100, getting close to like 100 now. So this is probably like the last one that you'll see some of those people there because they'll probably die by next year, right? So Rishi Sunak went to the D-Day event, right? But then he left early. So there was 2 kind of events on, and he didn't go to the second event and sent one of his underlings, David Cameron, instead, which obviously a lot of people didn't like. It's like, dude, what, you're the Conservative Party and you're reneging on your responsibility to go to a fucking D-Day celebration. What planet are you on? Why on earth would you do that? You know? It's, such an utterly insane thing to do.
Difficult battles to fight, and then there are campaigns that are going so badly your own ministers are being asked whether you might resign. Has that crossed your mind?
No, of course not. I'm energised about the vision that we're putting forward for the country.
Dude, I don't want to hear this fucking loser talk about it. Where's just the news report on it? The problem is it's a couple of days down the line, so where is it? Hang on. Bro, what a fucking retarded thing to do, though. Oh, it was even reported on in the US press, NBC News. Fucking hell. Here we go.
A newly released clip from an ITV interview with Rishi Sunak has revealed what the Prime Minister said to our correspondent when he returned early from the D-Day events in Normandy, which led to a huge backlash.
Yeah, we're going to ask the Defence Secretary Grant Shapps about this in just a moment. So let's...
No, this isn't my normal stream time, so I'm just doing a few hours today because I'm not streaming later. So yeah, it's just doing some election stuff because I want to catch up on it and, all that stuff. Because I'm off the next couple of days. I'll be back on Sunday.
Let's remind you when Paul Brand sat down with Rishi Sunak last Thursday evening. Here's a reminder of what the Prime Minister said to him.
Very nice to see you. Hey, sorry to have
well,
kept
thanks
you.
No, not at all. I know you've been in Normandy.
Yeah, it all just ran over. It was incredible, but it just ran over everything.
I'm sure it was
so apologies for keeping you.
No, not at all. I'm sure it was a powerful trip. I mean, so...
Bro, why did he leave early to do some fucking schlubby IT... Who fucking decided? Who decided this? Yeah, I'll tell you what we'll do. As the Conservative Party, right, which is about traditional values, patriotism, nationalism, right? Yeah, defeating the Nazis, one of the proudest moments of our country, in modern history. We're just going to fuck it off early and go and do some interview. Like, who decided this, bro? That's insane. What an insane decision to not do that. It completely boggles my mind. It's like they just want to lose. It's like they're playing a game. How can we get the biggest possible loss? How can we get totally raped by Nigel Farage?
As well this year, considering what's happened in the Ukraine.
Yeah, which I haven't seen President Biden's remarks, but I think that's kind of the echo, I think, what he said.
Did you get to meet any of the veterans, or were you...
Oh, no,
did you
gosh,
just have to do the ceremonial...
lots, over yesterday and today. Yeah, I've already spoke to almost everyone.
Bro, also, exactly. Can we talk about the racial element, please? Okay? I'm not racist, okay? But there's a lot of people who might not be hardline racist, but they will look at this guy's skin colour, and they'll look at his background, and they'll look at his decision, and they will question his dedication to Britain. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're going to be like, okay, so you're not... How do I say this without sounding really racist? It was just disastrous from all angles, right? Like, there is a racial angle too that, people don't want to look at or talk about. Dude, what an insane thing to do. I can't believe it.
It was there, I hope.
I speak to the Defence Secretary, Grant Shapps. Very good morning to you. The
Morning.
thing that strikes us, and I imagine a number of viewers, is just the sort of tone of that. It's almost like dealing with the D-Day events running over as if that was an inconvenience in trying to get to an interview
Oh my
time.
God, dude!
Can you understand why this doesn't make things...
These fucking veterans, these old doddery veterans, right, that fought on the beach in Normandy for our freedom, they were taking up too much of my fucking time. I just wanted to get back here and do my little interview. Bro, what an insane thing to say, dude. I can't believe this happened. Absolutely insane shit. It would be like a president. It would be like a sitting president sacking off Veterans Day celebrations or whatever you have over there, in order to go to some Fox News interview or something like that, say, right? it would be a similar level of like national, shock and criticism, particularly from like Conservatives.
Better in some people's minds.
I think the Prime Minister quite rightly reflected on that and apologised for it, which I thought was the smart of him to do the right thing to do, and showed his intention. And as he says, actually in that actual clip, the entire event, and I was actually at the mall, was absolutely remarkable. I mean, it was incredible.
Sorry I had to fob off the last remaining D-Day veterans so I could complete my Raid Shadow Legends daily quests. Also, right, ITV News obviously will talk to Rishi Sunak whenever, and apparently that's the time that was suggested, and they obviously recognised that it was a D-Day thing, and they were a bit bemused by it apparently, but they were just like, okay, well, if that's when you're available, that's when you're available. Yeah, dude, do it the next day.
To meet British veterans. The part that he now famously missed wasn't with the British veterans at all. He had met them all beforehand. And I think absolutely right that he apologised, but I do also think the real question is what's in his heart. Here's a Prime Minister who for the first time has put a veterans minister in his own cabinet. So determined has he been to work for the interests of veterans that he's decided to make a place around the cabinet table. And frankly, I think that is worth a lot more than one mistake.
I appreciate what you're saying, Grant Shapps, but the trouble is, we can only see what's in his heart by measuring his...
God, dude, politicians are so infuriating to listen to, the way they twist and squirm to try and justify something that it's just not justifiable. There's no way you can swing it that Prime Minister leaves D-Day commemoration early to do TV interview. You cannot fucking spin that in a way that makes it look good. It's impossible, right? It's not going to happen. It's going to go down like a cup of cold sick.
Actions. And he came home early from those events. I mean, even as you say, you reflect back on that remarkable interview that Paul Brand did, which we can all see tonight at 7 o'clock. He asks about President Biden, and Rishi Sunak says, I haven't seen President Biden's remarks. He wasn't in the photograph. He wasn't there.
Dude, look at this.
Seen President Biden.
Bro, Biden flew in for it. Fucking Biden flew in from America to be there. And Rishi sent fucking his David Cameron, Secretary of Defense. Bro, Biden was there. Dude, that is insane, dude. There you go, guys. There's your key jangling. Biden, you know who Biden is, right? Yo, look, it's Biden. It's the politician you know, Yankoids.
Biden's remarks. He wasn't in the photograph. He wasn't there at a critical moment during the day. Now, you know, we judge him by that, don't we?
Even the bad guy showed up.
I was at that event. President Biden didn't speak at the event, so I'm not sure which remarks were being referred to. President Biden didn't speak at that event at all. There were no British veterans there. The Prime Minister did go to Portsmouth, and he spoke there and met with the veterans. He then came to Normandy, met with the veterans, and the most extraordinary...
Also, the other thing as well, right? Dude. Why does Cameron look so shit? Bro, Cameron looks like a melting candle. Fucking hell. You can at least fucking, made yourself look a bit... I don't know, there's something not quite right with the suit and... You know what I mean? It looks like he's photoshopped in, yeah. But these guys look, like they're about town. They're about the business. David Cameron looks like he's got some cheap Primark suit. Budget fashion chain in the UK. Some Primark suit, slapped it on and gone and hung out with it. What's going on, dude? Oh my God, the Tories are fucking this up so badly. I don't know what it is. Everything they do just seems completely sodden with retardation.
The Prime Minister did go to Portsmouth, and he spoke there and met with the veterans. He then came to Normandy, met with the veterans in the most extraordinary ceremony, which I will never forget, actually. The Prime Minister was there, the King was there, at our new memorial in Normandy, where the Brits came abroad. He then went from there to a lunch, and the luncheon was with the veterans again, met with all of them. He then went from there to the Churchill Educational Centre, which has been opened at the site because, of course, we are losing those veterans now, and we want to make sure that future generations can be educated. And he went and helped with the inauguration, essentially, of that Churchill Education Centre.
I know that you're doing your very best to point out exactly what the Prime Minister did do. The trouble is that the voters don't see anything other than he left early. How much do you regret as the person in charge.
Yes. Also, if he was so happy with what happened, why has he apologised to the veteran? Rishi Sunak's apologised to the veterans. So what has he got to apologise for? God, I fucking hate politicians so much in these situations, man. They're such slimy fucks, dude. Just trying to fucking sweep. These professional sweepers. Politicians in these situations are literally just professional fucking sweepers, dude.
Our defence. At a day when it was those who risked their lives to defend our country, some of them feel and have spoken openly about how they feel let down. That generation feel let down by the Prime Minister's actions last Thursday. How much do you regret what happened?
Well, I am a lifelong Labour voter. And I voted for the Liberal Democrats once and I regretted it forever. I've regretted it forever. Didn't make any difference. Because where I grew up was a Tory stronghold anyway. But no, I'll vote Labour, I expect. There's actually, I mean, I don't know. Possibly, there's a possibility they might win here. But to be honest with you, I don't want to make this about who I vote for and stuff. You know, I just want you to know my bias so that if I cover something, you know that obviously I'm a pro-Labour guy. You can take that into account. But other than that, I mean, yeah, I'm not here to advocate for you to vote for anyone in particular. You know, I think you should vote for whoever you feel best represents your politics and worldview, you know? But yeah, I mean, you know, the Reform Party is definitely interesting. I just don't agree with their kind of politics broadly, you know? But I mean, I think it's fascinating that they've been able to do so much in such short time. Clearly, there's a lot of discontent with the Conservatives, a little bit of discontent with Labour, but that's mainly from the lefties more than anything else. But yeah, it'd be interesting on July 4th, see what the results are.
Well, look, I regret it because he has already apologised. But to be absolutely clear, what this Prime Minister has done for veterans has been, I think, second to none. With anyone beforehand. The military covenant extended. Somebody sat around his cabinet table. He didn't have to make space around his cabinet table. He didn't do this in the last few days. He did it a year and a half ago. And Johnny Mercer is that minister. There are many different ways in which we've assisted with veterans' affairs, including, for example, rail cards introduced for them, better taxation treatment, and much more besides. No government has done more. Okay. So I'm really sad.
I understand. Okay, but the point is you're really sad about what happened.
Yeah, but it's what's in his heart, I think, which is important. You recognise that it was.
Basically, the Tory party has like got multiple different factions. It's a bit like in the US. I mean, it's MAGA's kind of taken over, but for a while there, the Republican Party had the kind of MAGA-tards, and then you had the more traditional neocon-esque conservatives, right? Like probably the best example of the schism at the time was when Trump was warring with what's his face, Ted Cruz. Oh my god, the Ted Cruz stuff. I'll throw a bit of American politics in because I know you guys can't concentrate otherwise. But when Ted Cruz was going off on Trump for having a pop at his wife, and then there's like, you know, later he was phone banking for Trump. Oh my fucking god, dude. What? Dude, how embarrassing was that? Ooh. Talk shit about your wife and now you're trying to get him elected.
A mistake to do it. I think I take him at his word. He did meet all the British veterans. He's done for veterans more than us, whether at this particular event. I think way outweighs not being invented, which, by the way, Biden didn't speak. So I'm not sure where.
Exactly. I mean, it was the Prime Minister who brought that up. I haven't seen President Biden's remarks. But that's the kind of echo. It was his comment.
No.
Let's turn, Mr. Schatz, to your manifesto.
He's getting roasted.
First time we had a chance to talk to you about this. Your commitment. You're going to require all 18-year-olds to do some form of service. That's going to include 30,000 18-year-olds going into our armed forces to do a form of national service. You'll know that just a few weeks ago, the Ministry of Defence issued a statement saying the demanding, increasingly technical nature of defence today is such that we require highly trained professional men and women in our regular and reserved armed forces, and the government has no current plans to reintroduce such a service. So clearly it was a change. Was it difficult for you to sign up to the Prime Minister's idea of national service for 18-year-olds? And did you have opposition from the armed forces leaders to that proposal?
So first of all, I mean, the whole point of manifestos, or indeed elections, this came out just before manifestos, is to present your new ideas to the country. So clearly there has to be a moment at which you say, this is now something that we want to do. We hadn't talked about that before. Secondly, the wider national service announcement was actually far more than just about the military. Yes, by the end of the next parliament, we'd aim to have 30,000 places, which I think would be much sought after, by the way, for experience with the military. But actually, the vast majority of people would be doing their work through citizen service, through many other, RNLI or through St John's or Scouting or many other things.
Just to ask you about your responsibility here, which is defence. We're talking here about 30,000 new 18-year-olds every year coming into the armed forces. Do you have accommodation to house 30,000 recruits?
Oh, no.
What would it do to the whole training regime and presumably the expense and the disruption?
You should get Sargon to jump on his stream during the election. He was looking for peeps to have a good convo with during it. Yeah, if they'd accept a communist like myself. No, listen, yeah, sure, yeah. I'm probably gonna cover the election live. I think I'll stay up and do it. I think, but he's gonna be fucking shilling reform, isn't he? For fuck's sake!
And the diversion within the armed forces away from training professional soldiers to 30,000 every year, 18-year-olds. I mean, it's hugely expensive and very disruptive.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I came in as Defence Secretary and I had 3 objectives. One was to raise our expenditure to 2.5% of.
It'd be funny if Labour lost. Indeed. I don't want to be obnoxious about it, right? Because that's a recipe for disaster. But with where they're polling, I mean, I don't know what would have to happen. They'd have to be, Keir Starmer would have to murder a child live on television or something like that. I don't know. There'd have to be some sort of insane thing happen. Britain can't house 30 recruits at once. No. What they're saying is, at the moment, the military has obviously got provisions for a certain amount of, people. But the Conservatives are saying they would add an additional 30,000 young people per year to do this national service thing. And it's like, do you actually have the facilities to do that? Because that whole national service Tory thing just seemed like a sort of snap thing they did without really thinking it through. Keir Starmer would just have to eat an egg butty wrong. That race was quite tight with, what's his face? Ed Miliband. That was Ed Miliband, wasn't it? But yeah. Are you ready to go fight for Russia? Wait, what?
GDP, gross domestic product, which I've done. We've set that objective.
Yeah, there's no infrastructure. They're saying they're going to do things and they haven't got the correct infrastructure to facilitate it, right? So that's what's being pointed out here.
Second was to support Ukraine, and we've increased our funding and support to Ukraine because I think it's existentially important that Putin doesn't win that war to the world.
And the third thing, 30,000 young people.
And I was going to say, and the third thing is the problem of recruitment for our armed services.
Oh my God, dude, I hate politicians so bad, man.
The very concept of being able to introduce 30,000 people for experience, they're not going to be, this is a 25-day in a year thing.
I feel like you're not answering my question. Have you got the accommodation for 30,000 young people every year extra?
Let me get to the end of the question.
Oh my God, Star Trek, bro!
I'll never get to the end of the question unless you let me answer it. The reason why this is, I think, so important is it is a commitment to do exactly that, to build the accommodation, to find the space, to ensure that we can do it. It's not as you presented, 30,000 people for over an entire year.
Bro, they should do this thing where politicians are on TV, right? And you know those like bomb collars that you can get? Can I say this? Okay, I'm not advocating for harming any politicians, okay? This is satire. But there should be some sort of device. Not a bomb. That's too much. I need to calm down a bit, okay? But there needs to be something like a saw trap or something, yeah, that if you answer anything other than yes or no, something happens to you, okay? The contraption, let's just say, if you give any answer other than yes or no, the contraption activates. And the politician is subject to the contraption. Should we just put it like that? Get in the contraption now for your interview. Oh. Okay. What was this you sent me? Nigel Farage responding. Oof.
Yesterday, Rishi Sunak did not go to the big international commemoration of D-Day. What does that tell you about this man? I think the massive sacrifice your great-grandparents made for us all to be free and live as we are really matters. He doesn't care. For him, it's just all about coming back, doing interviews, getting votes. If you care about this country, if you believe in this country,
dude,
if you're positive about what our forefathers did, for goodness sake, don't vote for this man. Oh, and by the way, I do believe in Britain. I do believe in its people. You might have heard that.
Ayuski is just crushing it. Dude, that is insane. Listen to Eminem, bro. That is crazy.
I'm just about to go on the ITV leader.
Oh, we just watched this one, didn't we?
For Wednesday morning, a very busy week campaigning all over the country. And of course, yesterday saw the launch of the Conservative Manifesto. Guess what? After 14 years of failure, they're going to cut your taxes and reduce immigration. Do you believe them? No, I don't think anybody does. But Rishi says you mustn't vote Reform. If you vote Reform, you will let Labour in. That if you vote Reform, you'll be giving Starmer a blank cheque. Well, hang on a second. The last poll out last night shows us 1 point behind the Conservatives nationally. Now, we're behind in London by quite a bit. We're behind in Scotland by quite a bit. But we are leading. We're ahead of the Conservatives in the North East, the North West, Yorkshire and the Humber, the East Midlands, the West Midlands, and significant parts of Eastern Region too. In those seats where we're ahead, actually, it's a vote for Rishi's Tories that will let Labour in. And as for a blank cheque, do you know what? The real blank cheque would be for the Conservatives to be in opposition. Why? Number one, they'll row amongst themselves. And number two, Labour will simply blame the Conservatives for the next 5 years. That's our ambition. We want to be the voice of opposition to what is going to be a Labour government with a big majority stuffed full of incompetence.
Oh, Wednesday, calling up the Labour Party too. I mean, the thing is, he's using the logic of the Tories against them now, because I mean, it is exceptionally slim. It could grow. Maybe it will grow as time goes on. But he's using that logic of the Tories, where a vote for Reform is a vote for Labour. And he's saying, well, if we're ahead in the polls, then surely that works in reverse too, and you should do it. I mean, it's very impressive. It's very good. Very impressive they're able to do this. But, you know, because of the way our system works, they're probably only going to get a handful of seats. But it's going to wreck the Conservatives. The Conservatives are going to get raped, dude. They're going to get absolutely fucking raped. And as a Labour voter, I mean, obviously, I'm like, yeah, yeah, go on, Farage, get in there, lads. Oh, but we're taking votes from Labour. Oh, well, mainly from the Tories, though. Let's be real. Go on, Farage, get in there, lad. There is also, I mean, basically, it's the Ming vase theory, right? The idea being for Labour that they're carrying a priceless Ming vase across a floor and they're doing everything they can to not drop it. Basically, they're a shoo-in, but they need to make sure they don't do anything crazy and avoid any big controversies, which probably explains this.
Dawn Butler and Nelson Production. Come on, 4th of July. Don't forget to We got 21 days to go. We got 21 days to go. If you like, let me know. Let me have a shadow. Got 21 days. We gotta go. Rishi at D-Day, where did he go? Say Rishi at D-Day, where did he go? Like, don't let a liar run the show. Like, don't let a liar run the show. If you like me, let me know. Let me have a shadow. Got 21 days. We gotta go. 21 days to go.
Bro, how is this more cringe than Farage? What is happening here? Farage just sat there fucking jamming to Eminem, and he's fucking cooler than whatever the fuck this is.
21 days to go. 21 days to go.
Fuck me, dude.
21 days, say who you like. 21 days to have your say. Tories won't like me anyway, but I won't hesitate. Cause Labour Party are here to stay. We're going to the very top. Cause Tories, their time is up. Cause Tories, they're too corrupt. 21 days to go. Say 21 days
Oh my god, dude, this is so bad.
got 21 days before they gotta go. Vote Dawn Butler on the 4th of July.
Yeah, that's so true. Only a thing a strong old politician get away with. That's so true, isn't it? Right? When your majority in your area is so enormous, you could do literally anything. You could do a Trump. You could shoot a child in 5th Street or whatever. The meme is. Dude, this is so pathetic and cringe. Who is this for, dude?
Okay, allegedly corrupt. Can't afford to get sued. Don't forget to vote 4th of July.
Fucking hell, dude. If Dawn Butler had her way, Corbyn would still be in charge and Labour would be losing this election. Yeah, that is true. God, I remember. Oh my God, there's a liberal British radio presenter called James O'Brien, right? And he is like Blairite fucking personified. But he was talking about Corbyn being in charge, and he said if there was another leader in charge, Labour would be 20 points ahead in the polls. And then as soon as Keir Starmer took over from Corbyn, all the lefties were like mocking him because Labour still weren't ahead, because obviously it had only just happened. But, you know, he was right. He was correct about that. And now, obviously, Labour are, you know, more than 20 points ahead nowadays in the polls. But he was mocked. God, I fucking hate lefties so much, dude. I hate lefties worse than Nazis now, I think. Not just like lefties that like are based and chill, but like, you know, far retard lefties that just soy out about Starmer. When it's like, bro, he is about to hand you a fucking electoral victory. And I get that there's some stuff you don't like about the Labour Party. They've had to moderate and they've had to go more centrist to get power. But surely that's better than the fucking Tories. You know? To be honest with you, if they want to go and vote Green, fair enough. Okay, good luck to you. I think everyone should vote who they think best represents them. But to me, I'm just like, you know, it's 14 years of fucking Tory rule. I would, you know, as a lefty myself, well, not a gay lefty, but, you know, a base lefty, I don't care. I do not care about this fucking, but they don't support Palestine. Starmer, who fucking cares, bro? No one cares about Israel-Palestine. Give me a fucking break with that shit, will you? I tell you who cares about Israel-Palestine. Retarded leftoids that live in Brighton and Muslims. That's it. Other than that, no one fucking cares, bro. Dude, it's so insufferable. Anyway, interestingly, Jeremy Corbyn, who was a key, Keir Starmer, who was a key Corbyn ally, has recently been like sitting on Corbyn. It's crazy, dude. But he's really trying to fucking distance himself from Corbyn. It's mental. I mean, this is like slippery politician shit here, to be perfectly frank.
Let's just go through that, because in the last two general elections, you asked people to elect Jeremy Corbyn as their Prime Minister. You said, I do think Jeremy Corbyn would make
this is crazy.
Prime Minister, Jeremy Corbyn. Did you mean that?
I was certain that we would lose the 2019 election.
That wasn't
we were not
my
ready.
question.
I was certain that we would lose it. I did campaign for Labour. Of course I did. I will openly say I campaigned for Labour. I wanted good colleagues to be returned.
Get in the Starmer. Get in the contraption now. We want a yes or no. Get in that contraption over there.
Into the Labour Party.
And if you don't answer yes or no, dude, I can't. I need to be careful. I don't know what I can say. Is it like the US where you can't say anything about a politician?
You said it.
And I wanted a party that was capable of being changed so we could face the future again.
Did you not mean it when you said it?
I was certain that we would lose, and I think many other people were certain that we would lose.
So you didn't mean it?
I was certain that we would lose.
So you said it because you didn't think he would be Prime Minister anyway?
Of course I campaigned for the Labour.
Bro, what an insane, slippery fucking answer, dude. You can't even answer it. I always thought, what's he saying here? Yeah, I campaigned for Corbyn, but I thought we were going to lose anyway, so what does it matter? Fucking hell, dude.
Party at the last election and the election before that, the one before that. I've always campaigned for the Labour Party, and I'm glad I did because I wanted good colleagues to be returned to have their seats so that we could fight for the future of the Labour Party.
Bro. That is exceptionally slippery. You know, very slippery and evasive. But look, I mean, look, guys, I don't, you know, lefties are going to be upset by that. Okay? And I understand that it is slippery and it's shitty behavior to be so evasive. But like, Corbyn is like a political anchor, unfortunately. Okay? For the Labour Party. That's just the reality of it. Too controversial. Too many past controversies, you know, had existed as a backbench rebel politician, thrust into his position as the Labour Party leader. Polling always dreadful under Corbyn, not successful, not particularly well liked. Okay, I agree, Svuxon, that the press absolutely raped Corbyn. Okay, and you know. To excess, I think there was definitely excesses in that, and I think that the press were extremely unfair to him. But it's like, you know, when you point your finger somewhere, there's always three pointing back at you. And it wasn't as if Corbyn was like a sort of affable character. They had to force it. They had to force him. Oh God! Oh my God, dude! Do you remember when Jeremy Corbyn? Clearly, some fucking aide had said to him, "Listen, Corbyn, you seem like a kind of stuffy old guy. Can you comment on Love Island?" Which is like a British reality show. Like, obviously no idea what he was fucking talking about. I don't know if I can even find it. Yes, true. Corbyn and Abbott did bang. That's true. Who do I want to win? I'm a Labour voter. You know, I basically, at the moment, it's like I'm basically supporting the winning side more. You know, it's like in the UK, if you support Manchester United and they're the team that wins all the time. To be honest with you, it feels a bit pointless talking about it anyway because they're very likely to win a massive majority. So, like, what difference does it make? Or Man City? Is it Man City now? It used to be Man United when I was growing up. I didn't follow football. But yeah, he is fucking, you know, caught his fucking booting Corbyn in the face. Get off my Labour Party, you freak. He said something else as well about Corbyn. I think it was about the Tory Manifesto. Yeah. Where was that thing we were watching anyway? I got distracted. Corbyn and Abbott are the inverse. I was going to watch that thing. Let me go back to it quickly. It is coming home for Labour voters. Dude, I just, dude, especially with all this progressive victory shit as well, dude, I can't bear it. It's all been sullied for me, you know?
3 weeks tonight, they'll be counting
all the politics
the votes.
Shit. Let's meet the 7 politicians vying for your votes.
But which of them can count on your vote? The polls say there's a clear leader, though tonight, no one got an easy ride.
What we are going to do is we're going to have a growth strategy with an industrial strategy, with a skills strategy, which will enable us to grow the economy so that we can pay for our public services. We can't tax our way out of this. We've got the highest tax burden.
But that's in 70
what
years.
you're going to do.
Good.
You have a black hole of 38.5 billion. Their manifesto was published today.
Black holes.
Labour's manifesto was published today. 38.5 billion is the tax gap in their plans.
Tell the other people on this platform why you believe tax is a good thing.
This is the honesty that we need in this debate. We can't have a decent NHS, we can't have good schools unless we have a fair taxation system that brings the money in to pay for those services.
Each party claimed to have a fix for the NHS.
Our plan is to fix the front door with more GPs and dentists and to
Shut
fix
up,
the back
losers.
door by fixing social care.
OK, quick response from Penny, then I want to bring in Carla down.
We have grown the number of healthcare professionals.
And they're leaving. It's one in, one out.
Time and again, Nigel Farage tried to draw the debate to migration.
We are back to...
Oh, it's classic Farage, isn't it, you know? Classic Farage. How can I make this about immigration? Based.
The subject that nobody wants to discuss, the exploding population, means our schools, our class sizes are getting bigger. Of course, we've recruited more teachers. We need more teachers with an exploding population. And it's a constant problem that none of the other panellists even want to discuss.
We think it's shameful when some politicians scapegoat the people who become on...
I think Farage has learned in his political career that when you're an outsider, and this is like the problem the Greens have, is no one gives a fuck about all your little bullshit, different things that you care about and you're interested in, right? Being a single issue party is the best thing to be from an outsider's perspective because you can just solely focus on that, you know? With UKIP and the Brexit Party, it was Brexit. When Brexit happened, it was then lockdowns when Reform UK happened. And now it's immigration, immigration, immigration. It's actually a very strong political strategy that he's engaging in. And all of the stuff is about immigration because he knows there's a base of people there who will purely vote on that one issue, you know? So yeah, I think, and again, I'm not going to vote Reform. I'm not a Reform UK guy. You know, I'm like I say, a Labour voter. But you cannot deny that it is a very effective political strategy. And despite the fact that Farage has never won a seat of political office, he's had like a profound impact on British politics. You know, he is probably the sole person you would look to as being the architect of our, you know, leaving the EU. It was because of pressure from, at the time, UKIP that he was leading, that the Tories even offered a referendum on EU membership. That was his doing, you know? And I reckon he might win this time. Yeah, I reckon there's a really strong chance that he might actually win a seat. I think that time has moved on, and rather than him just being, you know, a racist leader of a party of kooks, I think he's got a strong message. I think people do relate to the immigration issue. I myself, as a fucking Labour voter, get very... I see it too. I absolutely agree that there's a problem with some of this immigration. You know, you go to some places and the character of the place has changed fundamentally, you know, and it's not just, oh, you know, there's a couple of fucking kebab shops. Like the entire street is back to back, you know, money exchange, Western Union money transfer, and you know, dude, like I say, listen, dude, yesterday I went to the post office. Okay, this was insane, right? I went to the post office and there was a woman who was, you know, visibly Muslim, had the headscarf on, and I said to her, "Oh, excuse me, are you in the queue?" And she didn't even look at me and ignored me. And the guy turned around, okay, and answered me. He responded on his presumably wife's behalf. Wait, dude, that's crazy. And I don't live in an area with like particularly high, you know, rates of those kinds of people. I've lived in areas where there's like Turkish immigration, but it's not the same. Like the wife is not like that. You know, the local kebab shop down the road, the wife has not got a headscarf on. She serves you, and it's not normal. Do you know what I mean? But fucking, it was honestly, and people don't like that. They don't like having the kind of concept of our liberal society interrupted by some nonsense religion that isn't even fundamental to our country, you know? Do you know what I mean? And I can relate to people that get that constantly, particularly in some of these areas where there has been a lot of like Muslim immigration and not liking it and being bothered by it. I totally get it. And you know, it used to be that you were called racist for that. And it's not racist to look at the changing world around you and think, damn, what happened to, what happened to our culture? What happened to having a British culture at the forefront of this? And now it's a bunch of shops that, seem predominantly geared towards serving the Muslim population of this area, Now, I don't have that problem locally, but I've had it going to London, and it sucks. And I totally understand why people don't like it. Yeah, it's unnerving. It's unnerving, and it feels weird. It feels like you're not you're not in your own country anymore.
Neighbours, our friends, our colleagues, to distract from their chronic underinvestment in public services.
The question was put to the panel.
Please.
And you're voting, okay, I'm not going to get into a fucking argument. I'm not going to be convinced to vote for reform, okay? I'm not just voting purely on immigration, okay? I'm not a single issue voter. I think there's other issues and problems in our country that I'm concerned with. And, I've got faith and trust in Labour to do more to fix that than reform. Also, to be honest with you, I could vote for reform and it wouldn't make any difference. I'd still technically be voting for Labour. But yeah, I'm not gonna vote for reform, no. See, that's the problem. You think because I've got an issue and I notice it and I don't like it, that I'm going to be like, well, that's my one issue that I'm concerned about, and that's why I'm going to vote for reform. I'm just not going to do it. But that's okay. You can vote for reform. That's cool. I'm not going to fucking chastise you for that. We've all got our different beliefs. It's fine. But I'm just saying that I totally understand why someone else, particularly from an area that's got this problem more profoundly, is going to look around and be like, this fucking sucks. I'm going to vote for reform because at least they're claiming to do something about this thing, which is, from my perception, having this negative impact on me.
Please raise your hand if you think the net level of legal migration needs to fall. Please raise your hand. The number needs to fall.
What a sorry.
Nigel.
Oh my God, dude. Labour with their hand up as well. Bro, that is insane. Even Labour thinks it's gone too far.
Farage, Penny Mordaunt.
Our economy has relied on overseas workers. We need an industrial and skills strategy because we've got unemployment going up in the latest figures.
You've had
we've got to make sure
years to come up with some ideas on this, and we have. We've got a workforce plan for
Bro, Labour have really cracked it this election cycle in terms of the messaging to connect with people. Yeah. I mean, it's like the Tories are giving it away essentially, and Labour are still, really nailing the points they need to nail quite strongly. Now, listen, I'm not fucking delusional. I recognise that Labour are not necessarily the party that are gonna, be the ones to reduce immigration. Be interested to see. But I'm just saying it's interesting. I mean, Corbyn would never have put his hand up for that. And, famously, immigration massively grew under Blair's Labour government. But no, it's just crazy to see that even the Labour Party is, pulling on the kind of anti-immigration lever too.
the NHS. We've got a workforce plan for social care.
When Nigel Farage tells you all that migrants are making you poor and they're the problem, don't believe him. Do you want to know the biggest problem facing the UK economy right now? His pet project of Brexit.
These people have lied to us repeatedly. I know I've actually always told the truth. I've always told the truth.
The debate flowed freely at times, tempers threatened to fray. This was democracy in the raw, the lifeblood of an election still to be won and lost.
That was a Scottish accent. That guy is the Scottish National Party, SNP. Which, I don't know, I mean, the SNP, what's going to happen with them? Maybe Labour wins back a lot of Scotland. We'll see. I mean, you don't really think about it, particularly if you're outside of the UK. You probably don't give a fuck about the devolved parliament shit and the fact that Scotland has got their own government. But yeah, there's been a lot of controversy in Scotland with that lead. What's his Yusuf Hamza was his name, I think. But yeah, he was another guy that caught a lot of controversy and ended up leaving. They're like social democrats, basically.
John Ray News at 10.
Well, now comes a time for the parties to argue over who won. That all takes place in the spin room backstage, where we can join Harry tonight. Harry, what is the verdict where you are?
Well, I think from the politicians I've spoken to tonight, there was agreement that the two people most under pressure and facing the most questions on that stage tonight were Angela Rayner of Labour and Penny Mordaunt of the Conservative Party. And Angela Rayner in particular had lots of attacks thrown at her from other politicians on that stage, I think because of Labour's huge poll lead and they're being treated to an extent like a government in waiting. But it was a poll released before tonight's debate that set the tone, really. That showed for the first time...
The SNP is a nationalist party that's also kind of socialist. Like some kind of merger of socialism and nationalism. Well, yeah, the whole thing is making Scotland independent from the UK, but they had a referendum on it and it didn't work. So, yeah, I think they could be fucked at this next election. Plaid Cymru the same. God, all these people are just joking. They just step aside. Come on, you're taking up space that a Labour person could fill. Come on, let's get a fucking no seats for anyone else.
Reform.
Dictatorship. Starmer dictatorship now. Starmo fascism now.
Head of the Conservative Party nationally. It's just one poll, but quite significant nonetheless, and that was something I asked politicians about in the spin room a little bit earlier.
This is my 11th general election. I've seen polls go up and down in all those elections and often be completely wrong. And the truth is that on July the 5th, either Keir Starmer or Rishi Sunak will be in number 10.
Really proud of Angela Rayner. She set out a positive vision for a changed Britain. She set out our plan for growth in a really dignified, steadfast way. It was the kind of steadfast leadership that I think our country is crying out for at the moment.
People are thinking, well, actually, a vote for the Tories is a wasted vote because Labour will win. So what's to lose by voting for Reform UK? And that is a message I want to get across to the country.
Well, there wasn't any big knockout blows in tonight's debate, no huge gaffes for anyone on stage, so I think it's fairly unlikely it's going to shift the debate in any huge way. There's just 3 weeks left now until polling day and not many more...
Bro, GB News are working overtime to try and shit on Starmer, which is understandable. That's their kind of whole thing. Fuck me, dude. They're not fucking around. Dude, you cannot... Okay, you've got Barrage the Farage. What is it for Starmer?
200 miles from Downing Street. The battle for number 10 now playing out in Grimsby. The two men vying for the keys to that door know they need to win voters like these. This place voted Tory last time, but now Labour wants it back. Keir Starmer first up to be interviewed by Sky's political editor Beth Rigby. He wants to convince this audience and the country he can be trusted. But it's a long journey since his last election campaign.
You said, I do think Jeremy Corbyn would make a great Prime Minister.
Oh, we just saw this.
Jeremy Corbyn. Did you mean that?
I was certain that we would lose the 2019 election.
Did you not mean it when you said it?
I was certain.
Starmer the Weasel.
Now will you actually
Slippery
say, yes,
Starmer.
I thought that, or I didn't
Dude.
think that at the time?
You can't smear the Keir.
I honestly didn't think that we had a chance of winning that
So
election.
you said it anyway.
Tax, a constant issue in this campaign. Delay.
Hey! Common Threads with a £10. Thank you very much. Just a reminder, guys, I'm not shilling too much this stream. I need to shill more, really, because I'm not streaming later. But, yeah, Super Chats and memberships are on. And, yeah, feel free to play some raid if you feel like it. Struggling to listen to this fully live as I can't get my boss off a Teams call, but I wanted to send some proper sterling money to you in appreciation for your based British political takes. Thank you for the £10. Yeah, I'm not really, you know... I'm not looking to do just like, it's just so obnoxious to sit here and be smug about Labour being so far ahead, you know? Like, I'd rather just look at everyone and be critical of where I think people should be criticised, you know? And also saying where I think there's good stuff. Unfortunately, the Tories, you know, the Tories, I've not got much good to say about them, unfortunately.
Labour's plans add up.
But the Tories say you will go further. They're right, aren't they? You will.
Well, the first thing I'd say is the Tories are in no position to lecture anyone about tax rises. We got the highest tax burden.
Yo, you tell him, Starmer!
No tax rises in the next Parliament.
No tax rises needed in the plans in our manifesto.
In the plans?
No tax rises for working people. That's income tax, national insurance,
so you're ruling out. I just decode...
Bro, okay. Dude, I'm 100% biased, okay? So bear that in mind. I'm trying to be fair to all, but that is such a fucking strong message, dude. Because, you know, Labour have got a reputation for being like the party of higher taxes. But yeah, that's a really strong message. Obviously, you know, it's one of those things where when it's Reform, Greens or Lib Dems, it's literally who cares about whatever shit they're saying they're going to do, because they're not going to be in political office anyway, so it's kind of worthless. And with like Labour or Conservatives, it's like, okay, well, you know, you say that you're going to do this, but often what actually comes to pass can be different once you're in office. So you kind of take it with a pinch of salt, you know?
Just to code that for you guys, because when a politician says no plans, it does mean I might.
Well, Beth,
I've done this a bit. It does.
No plans for a wealth tax. But he is a top earner himself.
Would you personally be happy to pay more tax?
Yes, of course.
A hint of domestic life and personal troubles.
Was Vic, your wife, not keen for you to do this?
No, she wasn't at all. She
what
thought
does she think
it'd be
about
far
the
better to
prospect
continue being a lawyer
Okay.
on a reasonable salary and not have all of the you know, challenges that you get as a politician. But I was clear in my mind. I wanted to come into politics because I wanted to serve my country.
The audience asking questions too, and some not holding back.
Over the last year, I feel like you've formed into more of a politician than the person that I would have voted for to run the country. You seem more like a political robot.
Oh, fuck off, you lefty. Go and vote for the Greens, you retard. Go and throw your vote away, motherfucker.
How are you going to convince others like
Starmer is a robot. He's a political fucking machine, okay? And he's gonna fucking... Okay, come on. Let's stop fucking around.
Well, the most... look, all I can say... I went to run the Crown Prosecution Service. You referenced
He's
that.
malfunctioning.
I was the Chief Prosecutor for 5 years. Apologies.
Cayman, did he convince you? Yes or no?
I hope you don't answer the questions, how you answer the questions, and I hope you never answered them the way that you did when you were a solicitor, because you don't seem to answer the question.
OK. I'm gonna...
Some frustration at the lack of detail, but this man not giving much away. Rishi Sunak needs a big win in this room.
Bro, the thing is with Starmer is it's so obvious that he is just, like, every single thing he's doing, he's desperate to just not have some sort of fucking insane gaffe where he says something retarded, or he has a D-Day moment where he does something that is just looks terrible. It's the Ming vase thing. Someone mentioned it in chat and I looked it up. But it's the idea that the whole concept is you're carrying a Ming vase over a floor, a priceless Ming vase, and you just don't want to drop it because you're basically a shoo-in. Your job is to not fuck it up, right? So of course he's playing his cards close to his chest. He's not making any big moves.
And beyond, but can he escape the chaotic record of his party?
Keep him away from the egg butties.
In this Parliament, we've had 3 Prime Ministers, 5 Chancellors, 5 Home Secretaries, 6 Health Secretaries. How do we know that if you won the general election, you'd still be Prime Minister in a year's time?
Raped and dead in a ditch.
Look, I can appreciate people's frustrations. Of course, we haven't got everything right. I don't think any government does, and I know it's been very difficult for many people. But what I can do is work as hard as I can to deliver the stability that I said I would, and I've had this job for 18 months.
The PM tested like rarely before on his promises. One, to get waiting lists down.
No, just cutting NHS waiting lists, that's pledge 4. When you made the promise, the list was at 7.21 million. It's now at 7.54 million cases. It's gone up.
Yes, it has. Yes, I'm very good. We've not made as much progress on...
Oh, my God, dude. Every single thing they said they're going to do, they just haven't done. It's mental. Fuck me, he's getting absolutely wrecked.
Waiting lists as I would have liked.
The point...
Rishi Sunak facing boos, losing some in the crowd and, at times, looking crestfallen. Immigration, the next challenge for him to overcome.
The worst one. Why did you call an election before voters could actually see it was happening? Why?
Because an election is an important moment for our country, and my priority when I got this job was to restore economic stability. And we talked about bringing inflation down and getting the economy growing, and then being in a position, as we are now, to cut people's taxes.
Legal immigration, another example of failure. And again, the audience hostile.
What was the total net migration figure in the last 3 years running up to the 2016 referendum when we had freedom of movement? Do you know it?
I don't have it offhand.
It was
No! He doesn't. Those figures either get wrecked.
136,000 people.
Retard Rishi.
And I'm sure many people in this room would have voted for Brexit. 70% of people in Grimsby voted for Brexit. How do you think they feel about that when they hear that net migration into this country has more than doubled in the last 3 years from before we left the European Union?
Yeah, I'm sure people... It's too high. I've been very clear that it's too high. And I'm sure people feel frustrated and angry about it.
Do you know what the funny thing is about the Tories too? What was this? I've not followed... I actually haven't followed that closely because I don't fucking care about anyone involved. But what was the Rwanda thing? It's like you know... It's the equivalent of being on a ship and you're taking on fucking water at an alarming rate because you've got a hole in the bottom, and you get a little thimble and start trying to fucking get it out the side. Don't worry, I got this. I'll sort this out. A fucking little thimble of water each time, desperately trying to stop the boat from sinking. It's like that. All this fucking immigration flooding in at the top end, and they've got this little tiny measure that they're trying to implement to, you know, stop that. It's crazy.
Trying to show he gets it. But after 14 years in power, the audience seemed low on patience.
You say that you're coming from an NHS background and you have this instilled value of caring for the NHS. How are we going to do that if you try and undermine it at every level?
With greatest respect, that's not what we're doing. We're investing record sums into it. We're training more doctors and nurses than we ever have, and there are more doctors and nurses in the NHS today than it's also had.
Because there's shortages of the staff already. We're short of radiographers, all the trades, all the different specialities throughout the hospitals. We're short of staff. So building another building that's going to move it from the hospital is not going to cure the problem. It's just going to make it worse.
It was a bruising experience for the Prime Minister. His campaign needed a win.
Oh my God, dude.
An exclusive Snap poll suggests a decisive verdict. 64% said that Keir Starmer won.
Yo!
36%
get wrecked, get wrecked, Sunak.
Result the Prime Minister needed.
Halfway through this campaign tonight, a major moment. Both sides will try to claim their man won, but the reactions in the room and from the viewing public tell a different story. Can Rishi Sunak turn it around from here? Sam Coates, Sky News, Grimsby.
Bro. It's like they, it's like they want to lose. It's insane. I'm trying to find stuff about the Green Party because people said there was some funny kook shit going on there, but I can't seem to find it. There's this. Green Party leader compares nuclear deterrent to teenagers carrying knives.
Where's the Green Party these days on defence? I know that you used to be...
Oh my God, dude. Okay, so the Green Party on defence have always been... You remember that Joshua Congress guy in America that wanted to, like, you know, abolish the CIA and shit like that? That's the level that the Green Party are at. Absolute kook bullshit that's never going to go anywhere.
Anti-NATO, that's no longer the case anymore. You now want to see reform from within. What does that look like? What would that look like? What would Green MPs, if you were in the House of Commons, what would they be saying on defence, NATO and the rest of it?
Well, this came up a little bit in the TV.
Okay. This is your Queen, Green Party voters? Someone that looks like this? Could you imagine this person in fucking, you know, as Prime Minister? Like, what a joke. Fuck me, dude. We'd be overrun with the hordes, if you know what I mean, within a matter of years if this person was in charge, dude. Refugees, welcome. Okay, stop.
The debates, and as I said then, we recognise that international cooperation is an inherent part of ensuring our security, and the Green Party are an internationalist party, so we are all about collaborating across borders. Being a member of NATO, NATO asks its members to contribute 2% of its GDP to defence, which is fair enough, that each member contributes a fair amount. But the UK is already contributing that number, and so we would remain part of NATO, but we would push for changes. I think the most...
Do you support the 2% spending?
I do, yes. Although the Green Party might allocate some of that spending a little bit differently.
How so?
And one of the ways that we want to seek changes in NATO would be currently NATO is prepared to press the red button, press the nuclear button first. And so we would be pushing for a no first use policy because there is no sane or ethical justification.
Oh my God, dude. What a retarded idea. Dude. That's crazy. What an insane why even... So you got some rogue state that is like popping off the chain with access to nukes. And it's like, these people, there's credible threats and intelligence that they may launch a nuclear strike against us. And you're not going to do anything about it. You're not willing to fucking wipe them off. I don't give two fucks, okay? If some rogue state gets hold of some nukes and they're like, we're going to send nukes your way, or there's credible intelligence, nuke the motherfuckers, drop the bomb, wipe them off the face of the fucking earth. Yeah, it sucks, a bunch of people are going to die, but I'm going to be honest with you. I'd rather that me and my family survived than some fucking jihadis get to wipe me off the face of the earth. Thank you very much. I mean, is that a crazy take? I feel that's a fairly reasonable take that, you know, you need to have the capability to wipe someone off the face of the earth if there's credible intelligence they might launch a strike against you. Like, what on earth? I got fucking children, for fuck's sake. I don't want to have a nuclear holocaust, for fuck, dude. I don't know, man. I just think that's such an insane policy that you don't strike first. What if there is, like, you know, 99% credible evidence that the new Iran regime is going to launch a nuke at you? What about then? Yeah, exactly. The reason it's a deterrence is because it's a recognition that if you fuck with us too much, we will fucking destroy you. We'll send you back to the fucking Stone Age. And admitting to people that you're not going to do that is just admitting that it's pointless then, isn't it? Fuck me, dude. What a retarded policy.
Forever being the aggressor with nuclear weapons.
Seems highly unlikely that a NATO state would ever fire a nuclear weapon first,
well,
though, wouldn't it?
We have to remember that the vast majority of NATO members don't even have nuclear weapons.
No, and that's why they want us to retain ours.
Yes, and that's an area where the Green Party differs from other parties because...
Oh my God, dude. We have got, you know, a technological weaponry advantage, and what, we're just going to give it up, I get. Okay, let's see. Let's hear her out. But this nuclear de-armament shit is fucking nonsense, peace symbol, hippie nonsense. Fuck off with this shit, dude.
Because we're clear that, as well as costing an absolute arm and a leg, our nuclear weapons do not make us safer. In fact, they make us a target. They make us more.
But then why do countries, other NATO members, Eastern European countries, for example, do they want us to keep our nuclear weapons there?
Bro! Why would you give up technological and weapon superiority over other nations that could otherwise endlessly fuck with you if they wanted to? Why would you just give that up? Why? What an insane idea. No, keep them. Now we've got them, keep them. And it keeps... God, there's states out there that don't have nuclear weapons, but they've got enough fucking jihadis that they could send a fucking 10,000 suicide bombers at your main capital city. And the reason they don't fuck with that and don't do shit like that is because they know if we fuck with these guys too much, they'll nuke us into the fucking Stone Age. Bro, I'm sorry. I know it sounds like fucking warmongering, but it's just a fact. It's just reality. That's just the geopolitical reality that you live in. There's people out there who do not have the same liberal principles and values, and given the opportunity, would come and slaughter your civilians en masse if they could get away with it. Fuck me, dude.
Well, it probably suits them for us to have them rather than them. I mean, that's... The fact is that at the moment, we have nuclear weapons. We're spending a huge amount of the government's budget on that when it could be being spent on measures to fix our crumbling schools and our crumbling NHS.
But in an era when... But of course, those are important things, but in an era when Vladimir Putin is so threatening...
Exactly.
Surely it would
that's not... I didn't even thought that. There's a genuine geopolitical issue at the moment, right, where you've got a nuclear power that's invading Ukraine, and they have made it clear that they maybe got their finger on the fucking button, dude. Fuck me. Imagine in a world with fucking Russia invading Ukraine, and... You know, you're going to fucking just be like, yeah, we're going to get rid of our nukes. Bro, what an insane idea, bro. Dude, these people are kooks.
Mad at this moment to give up our nuclear weapons.
I should emphasise that what I'm talking about is moving towards a nuclear-free future, not turning them off tomorrow morning. But
at any point.
Well, there are ways to build towards peace. And the trouble with nuclear weapons is that they just don't tackle the biggest threats that we're...
Bro, this is the politics of a 14-year-old, right? This is 14-year-old level politics. You know when you're 14 and you're like a pacifist and you think we should disarm and everyone should just, you know, get around the campfire and sing Kumbaya and everyone can be happy together. That's not the way the world works, okay? It's fucking insane. Yeah, we got a big stick, so we're going to keep it so people don't fuck with us. And if they do, we can hit them with a big stick if we feel like it. Oh my God, dude. This is turning me into a neocon, for fuck's sake, dude.
Facing in the world. I mean, they don't help with terrorism. If a terrorist is going to hijack a vehicle and use that as a weapon,
but
nuclear
the biggest
weapons
threat
don't
in the
help us
world
with
right
that.
now is Russia, surely.
Cyber threats, it doesn't help with that. And of course, the biggest threat facing humanity, which militaries all over the world are taking very seriously, is climate change. And I find it reassuring.
Oh, of course, the Green Party.
Militaries are taking this seriously because they understand that if we don't tackle it, it's going to cause conflict, famine, and create millions of refugees.
But I mean, Ukraine gave up their nuclear weapons and then they got invaded.
Ukraine are in a very different situation to the United Kingdom.
Yeah, but I mean, you won't find a Ukrainian now who wishes they didn't retain their nuclear weapons.
I think that's a very different situation to the situation the UK is in now, where we are making ourselves a target by being one of the countries that does have nuclear weapons and starting to host US nuclear weapons on our soil too.
You think we would be less of a target if we didn't have nuclear weapons?
What is she on about? If you got rid of nuclear weapons, I mean, obviously we'd still be protected by NATO, so I don't think it would be, you know... But, dude, it's just we don't have control over it then. We don't have our own capability. Like, we completely cede control, and we've got to rely on going to some other country and being like, oh, this little rogue jihadi state keeps sending suicide bombers to destroy our infrastructure and civilians in London. And, you know, there's been fucking, 100 fucking bombings backed up by this rogue state government. Can you help us out with this? Bro, this is such an absurd non-starter. Why would you give up an advantage like having nuclear weapons? For the sake of what? Oh, so we can feel a bit nicer about ourselves. Fuck me, dude.
As I said, the vast majority of NATO countries don't have nuclear weapons. So this would be a case of the UK joining those.
Poland doesn't have nuclear weapons. It's still a target. Eastern Europe, surely we're not more of a target. We would still remain a target of Russia or whoever. If we have nuclear weapons or not, we'll just be more exposed.
Going back to first principles, like what are the circumstances that pressing the red button would solve?
Well,
I can't think of any.
It's a deterrent.
I don't think that the argument for a deterrent is very effective. It to me...
Bro, does this fucking stupid... This is what happens when you... Oh, dude, I'm going to be fucking... Dude. This is what happens when you're not realistic about the threat of other political bodies that exist that aren't part of your fucking, retarded Green Party worldview. Like Islamism, right? Islamism. And shit like that. And the shit that people could pull on us, if we forego having nuclear weapons. And like I say, some rogue state wants to attack us repeatedly or even gets hold of a nuclear weapon or something like that, right? It's a recognition that if they fucking, exactly, mutually assured destruction, that's it, exactly. Kind of a fuck situation, but that's like the last resort. But before that, yeah, it's like, you know, knowing that we've got the capability to absolutely annihilate someone if they push things to a point where it was causing us significant issue. But do you know what I mean? Bro, it boggles my mind that people have got such, like, idealistic takes about defense policy and they want serious political office. DEI in action. God, I remember there was a debate about this and Corbyn was getting kind of hauled over the, I think it was Corbyn was getting hauled over the coals, and some soy freak goes, can we just say how crazy it is that we're talking about destroying each other? It's like, bro, yeah, that's the reality. Some people are fucking insane. Like some people, if they got into office, would do crazy shit, you know? Anyway, come on. Let's stop sawing out of this. Let's hear it out.
Isn't it a risk? I mean, maybe you're right, but it's a risk, isn't it? It's a risk. You wouldn't want to take a risk right now. It's such a risky moment. Russia is a revanchist power that is threatening its states. We are part of NATO. Surely the last thing that we should be doing, is taking a risk with our national security right now.
The argument for having nuclear weapons only as a deterrent reminds me strongly of the argument that you tragically hear young people giving sometimes for why they carry a knife. They say they're doing it to protect themselves, and they truly believe that. But the fact is that those who carry knives are more likely to be stabbed, sometimes by...
How would that... Dude, comparing, you know, what is it called? Game theory of geopolitics and whatever you want to call it. To some fucking retarded kid carrying a knife.
Their own...
And also, yeah, I mean, this goes against the self-defense point as well. I mean, you could use the same argument about guns in America, right?
Knife. Defending yourself, thinking that it's a deterrent like that.
We're not going to nuke ourselves, are we?
No, but somebody... But it makes us a target, as I say.
Okay. No. I mean, I want to talk about other things because there are many other important matters. But just on Ukraine, because obviously you could be in Parliament and you'll have an influence in terms of what we do next. We're sending a lot of money in arms to Ukraine.
Okay.
Is that something that your party supports?
Yeah, Ukraine has an absolute right to defend itself when it's receiving attacks onto its sovereign territory, and so yeah, I do support the assistance that the UK and other countries are providing.
Let's talk a little bit about a policy that came up quite a lot this week that I know upset quite a lot of people, and I know that you'll want to just refer to it since we're here. There was a bit of controversy you'll have seen about a policy which I know your party is now saying it was historic, but saying that childbirth is a non-medical event and we should be reducing the number of C-sections. How did that happen?
So first of all, to be clear, that policy is not going to be in our manifesto and was never going to be in our manifesto. I think it was a quite out-of-date policy that was adopted some time ago when I think the mainstream medical opinion was somewhat different to what it is now. A little bit first to explain how our policy setting process works. The Green Party is a very internally democratic party, so our policies are set one member, one vote at our conference. And unlike the other parties, we make those policies available.
You are very democratic.
But it does mean that sometimes policies that are not a priority, but which have not technically been removed from the policy book, may still be there. But
because there was a suggestion it was updated in April, as recently as April. Is that right?
I don't think that's true. I think that was when the entire website was last updated, rather than that policy. But the bottom line is that in maternity and childbirth, as in all healthcare, what's really important is that people...
Yeah, also, just thinking about it as well, the knife point's stupid because often you'll be carrying a knife in a concealed fashion, so people aren't going to know that you've got one. And you're just in a moment... I mean, you know, look, knife crime's an issue. I'm not... Yeah. But the point is like, it's not the same as people knowing that you've got a fucking nuke, and if you fuck with them too much, they might wipe you off the face of the earth, you know? Like, who's walking around carrying a big knife so everyone knows that you've got one? Normally it's a concealed thing, isn't it? But yeah, dude, I can't believe. Look, I think that people can vote for who they want to, okay? If you want to vote for the Greens because they best represent you, go right ahead. That's up to you. But the idea that you are dropping support for Labour when they're on the precipice of electoral raping for this bunch of clowns. I mean, dude, it's mental.
Women in this case have the right to choose. With expert advice, they have the right to choose what is best for them.
So
and there's no doubt that maternity and childbirth, of course, are natural processes.
Chud, he just pointed out that the party was against C-section births. Wait, what? Huh? No, you're full of it. Sorry.
A bit of controversy you'll have seen about a policy, which I know your party is now saying it was historic, but saying that childbirth is a non-medical event and we should be reducing the number of C-sections. How did that happen?
So first...
C-sections, cesareans are used in the event that a normal birth isn't possible. There isn't really a way that you can reduce C-sections because, it's like we can't get the baby out normally. In order to protect you and protect the baby, we have to remove it via this method. You can't just reduce C-sections. It's not really a thing that you can reduce because it's a last resort used in an emergency situation. Or if you go for checkups and stuff and they recognize it's going to be an issue, I'm wrong. How so? Oh, when you opt for it. Yeah, but people opting for it is like such a fucking slim number of people. Most C-sections, I would presume, are emergency or, because you can't have a normal birth. Yeah, you can book it ahead of time, but some people book ahead of time because they have to for medical reasons. Like, for example, my ex had a C-section the first time round, and then because they'd had a C-section, because they couldn't, birth normally, had to have a second one as a C-section too. So the C-section was booked ahead of time for the second birth, but that's not because she necessarily wanted to, it's because she had to, right? I don't think that there's a significant number of people who are pre-booking in C-sections because they want to do C-sections rather than have a normal birth. That sounds fucking absurd to me. Hey, thanks for the £5. The Doc Martin wearing Mongoloid thinks we can all hold hands and live together peacefully. No, it is a stupid waste of time policy because it's such a non-issue, right? You're some retarded Green Party freak if you genuinely believe it is worth significant political capital investing in reducing the amount of elective C-sections, which, how many happen in the UK on a yearly basis, right? I cannot imagine it's a significant amount of people that you would need to expend any significant political capital to bring it down. That's crazy.
First of all, to be clear, that policy is not going to be in our manifesto and was never going to be in our manifesto. I think it was a quite out-of-date policy.
No, sure. I didn't think of the, however many people that that probably does exist, but it's like, a non-issue to me. I just don't know why you would even bother, investing time in that. Anyway, let's hear this person out. See them explain it.
We should be reducing the number of C-sections. How did that happen?
So first of all, to be clear, that policy is not going to be in our manifesto and was never going to be in our manifesto. I think it was a quite out-of-date policy that was adopted some time ago when I think the mainstream medical opinion was somewhat different to what it is now. A little bit first to explain how our policy setting process works. The Green Party is a very internally democratic party, so our policies are set one member, one vote at our conference. And unlike the other parties, we make those policies available.
You are very democratic.
But it does mean that sometimes policies that are not a priority, but which have not technically been removed from the policy book, may still be there. But
because there was a suggestion it was updated in April, as recently as April. Is that right?
I don't think that's true. I think that was when the entire website was last updated, rather than that policy. But the bottom line is that in maternity and childbirth, as in all healthcare, what's really important is that people, women in this case, have the right to choose with expert advice, they have the right to choose what is best for them.
So
and there's no doubt that maternity and childbirth, of course, are natural processes, and there's no doubt that C-sections and other medical interventions are sometimes the best way of ensuring the best outcome for mothers and their children.
Do you think there are too many C-sections going on in the NHS?
No, I think that it's really important for women to have a good, well-informed decision and to have adequate support from midwives and other health professionals so that they can make the best choices for them.
But for the record, your party has no view and will have no view on whether women should have C-sections.
It's like the NHS has got all these fucking problems, right? And the Green Party is like, oh, what about the elective cesarean sections? It's like you can't see the wood for the fucking trees. Why was that ever a fucking suggestion? God, this is such typical, like, non-party bullshit, isn't it? Non-main party bullshit of, like, we're going to focus on frivolous shit that doesn't matter. And then when we're held to account for it, we'll act like it was never a thing in the first place. No, you did have that policy because you're a retarded, non-starting political party, and now you're having to answer for it, and you sound terrible.
Sections.
Our priority is making sure that everyone has access to the healthcare they need and can, it's the principle of my body, my choice, can make the decisions that's right for them with professional advice.
Yeah, that's another point as well, from like a lefty perspective, a retarded lefty perspective. Yeah, my body, my choice. So by that logic, isn't it reasonable that a woman might think, okay, I don't want to have my pussy torn to shreds in childbirth, so I'd rather just get it lopped out like that, Fuck me, dude. These people are so fucking inconsistent as well. Yeah, it's your choice, but don't get an elective cesarean because that's too much of a strain on the NHS.
He's not going to have a policy on it, on whether women should have more or fewer C-sections.
No, the manifesto certainly won't go into that level of detail.
Good. Okay, right. Okay, that's clear. Just thinking a little bit about the moment about what's going on with the Labour left. There, of course, have been some deselections and so on of some people on the Labour left. Would you welcome them into your party?
Wait, Creeman, listen, if you've got any funny Green Party trans candidates to laugh at, let me know and we'll throw them up, all right?
I mean, first of all, I think the nomination period has ended, so...
but in the future?
It entirely depends on context. If people have been deselected because they have said or done something horrific, then that's very unlikely. If they've been deselected because they have different politics to the Labour leadership, that might be a different matter. It would entirely depend on context.
Talking about candidates, there have been reports this week saying that your party had dismissed or removed a small number of election candidates after an investigation into their online activity. And I think this largely referred to alleged cases of anti-Semitism. How many were...
Yo, let's go! Finally! Bit of Green Party anti-Semitism. There's a lot of Muslim... Okay, let's be careful here, but for certain there's a bunch of kooks saying crazy shit about Israel-Palestine.
Removed in the end.
First of all, just want to say, as co-leader of the party, I rightly have no role in the disciplinary and complaints process. That's a basic principle of good governance, that there shouldn't be any political interference. But we do have internal processes to investigate these, and those have done their job with any cases that have been brought to our attention.
So all of those reported, they're not candidates anymore?
To my knowledge, a small number have been are no longer candidates, and new candidates have been selected. In fact, we're standing the largest slate of parliamentary candidates we have ever stood in any general election, 574. That's the same number across England and Wales. That's the same number as Labour and Lib Dems, and actually more than the Conservatives.
One of the candidates, Adam Pugh, the candidate for Deptford and Lewisham North, said of the Royal Navy vessels delivering aid to Israel, "I hope they sink." Is he still a candidate?
I'm not familiar with that particular...
Oh my God, dude. Fuck me. Why? They're delivering aid. What's wrong with that? Everyone needs a bit of aid, don't they?
He was still on the website this morning.
That's certainly not something that I would ever say, but and as I say, I have...
Isn't it saying Royal Navy ship should sink a parliamentary candidate? Highly inappropriate.
As I say, it's certainly...
Bro! Yeah, that's true as well. What an insane... I want our military to have a bad thing happen to them. Dude, what's this... Oh my God, I didn't even think of that angle. Yeah, well, I'm running for, government office. I'm running for, representation in our great nation, and I hope our military die. I hope our sailors die. Actually, I think that'd be based. It's just such an unfathomably stupid thing to say when you're running for political office in the country whose military you're talking about.
Not something that I would ever say. Our internal processes have investigated any cases that have been brought to our attention and appropriate action taken.
I mean, there were just so many of them when we were looking this morning. I mean, Simon Anthony, the Green Party candidate for Barking, or at least he was, East London, compared Hamas to the French resistance and said the October 7th terrorist massacre was the current Palestinian Home Guard outburst.
That's what I'm talking about. Give me the juicy goods. Let's go. The kooks. What are the kooks been saying? That's what I'm into.
Clearly inappropriate as well, would you say?
I share your view that statement is clearly inappropriate. And let me be clear that from the start, from October, the Green Party has always consistently condemned the horrific Hamas attacks for targeting civilians and breaking international law. We've continued to do so. Israel has the right to defend itself from those attacks, of course.
Okay.
But let's look at why we're talking about this.
That's actually quite interesting. That line is, quite loaded. A lot of lefties don't like that kind of language. But fair play. That's actually fairly reasonable line there.
Because the actions of the Israeli government since then have gone far, far beyond self-defence, with hundreds of thousands of people being killed, injured and displaced.
You had a candidate who, to be fair, has been removed. Your candidate for Aldridge Brownhill said the leaders of Israel and Gaza conspired to carry out what happened October 7th for financial gain, which without doubt...
Bro, come on! Some Green Party candidate's like, yeah, those conniving Jews at the top of the Israel pile have been doing... That's crazy, dude. That's next level.
Obviously, it's just deeply anti-Semitic as well as being completely appalling in all sorts of different ways. They were removed. But as you know, the Board of Deputies of British Jews accused the Greens of taking too long to deal with a clear anti-Semitism problem. Do you think your party does have an anti-Semitism problem?
You've highlighted a number of cases, and as I said, our internal processes, of which I rightly have no part, have investigated everything that's been brought to our attention and taken appropriate action. With 574 parliamentary candidates across England and Wales, a very small number are no longer candidates. I don't think that, in fact, I know that while there is no place for anti-Semitism, Islamophobia or any form of racism or prejudice in politics as a whole, and certainly not in the Green Party, a small number out of 574 in total.
So there's no problem. There's no substantive problem. You saying it's just a few bad apples.
Well, I would just draw attention to the fact that all political parties have had issues with problematic comments made by candidates and have had to ask candidates to step down in a few cases. I would obviously prefer that number to be zero, and it's something that as a party we're taking very seriously.
Oh, Daniel, can we get you back when we've seen your manifesto in full?
Yes, I'd love to come back.
Yeah, she just basically did the thing where she collapsed everything into one figure. So she said hundreds of thousands, 100,000 or whatever dying, displaced. So she kind of collapsed all the bad stuff. Listen, I am not an Israel defender. I think, Israel's defense has been exceptionally excessive and kind of crazy. But, I don't care. They're fighting over rocks. What's the Sam Hyde bit? I can't remember. But no, I'm not an Israel supporter. I think that, what's been going on over there is crazy. Even fucking Biden has had to say, look, can you cool your jets a bit? Can't fucking out. Chill out on the J-dams, J-boys. You're really hopping off the porch. But yeah, I mean, those are crazy, crazy comments. What is this you've linked me? Oh no. Creeman, of course, knows all the best Dude, what is this, bro? This is exactly the kind of trans person I expect Creeman to tell me about. Don't worry, we're not all bad. I hope our candidate in your area is not a lunatic. No, do not face swap this, for fuck's sake. So when is this from? Oh, a few years ago. Amy Knight, previously known as Amy Chancellor, has been sacked by Reddit, but while Chancellor is now gone, her reappearance in the headlines and the way in which Reddit mishandled the story is a revealing, disturbing insight into the transgender debate. What we got an article I wrote for these pages. Green Party gender madness. Oh, I see. So they're saying that Green Party's policies, because they put trans at the forefront, is like, you know, going against women's shit. Like gender critical type takes, right? I'm guessing is what it would be. It was a scandal the Chancellor did not see dragged up. When a moderator of a popular UK politics community on Reddit shared that article mentioning Chaliner by name, the post was removed and the moderator banned. A Chaliner persuaded the powers that be at Reddit to prevent users from discussing her past. What? Users bombarded the site with links to articles detailing Chaliner's somewhat checkered past. Hundreds of forums, including the 27 million member music group, set their statuses to private in protest. They got fired. What? The dismissal of Challiner has served to shine a light on yet another embarrassing example of how the issue of trans rights can be used as a smokescreen against McCarthyite silencing of the dissent from trans women and women diktat. Woohoo! In 2015, David Challiner, Amy's father, was reported to the police for the rape and torture of a 10-year-old. In 2018, he was tried and convicted in jail for 22 years for what the judge called his depraved catalogue of crimes. Warwick Crown Court heard that David Challiner dressed up as a little girl called Lucy while he strung the child. Oh, Jesus Christ, I'm not reading that, dude. That's crazy. Yo, Jim Rockwell. Thank you for the $5. Homeless in Lancaster, smoking, rock and slicing and voting for Ricky. Based. Thank you for the $5. What? Jesus Christ, dude. This is insane. How does Corbyn know about all this weird shit, bro? An independent investigation into the Green Party handling of the scandal found a number of failings in terms of safeguarding. Amy Challiner was suspended for not clearly telling colleagues that David Challiner had been charged with the serious sex crimes against a child before appointing him as her election agent, a role in which he remained for 18 months after being charged with child rape. Amy Challiner was no lowly figure in the party. Challiner had been the party's equality spokesperson and stood before Parliament and was in the running to be the party's deputy leader before David Challiner was jailed. Wait, what? Right-click on the respectful nod chud source and set it scale filtering to Lanxos. Properties. Oh, wait. Settings. I don't know how to do that. No. I don't think she covered up for her dad. I think from what I can understand from this, I think she didn't report that a family member had this against him. Like, I think it's just one of those things where if you're a politician, like, I mean, you know, there's probably a reason for it. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but like the idea that you be a politician and your father's committed a serious sex crime is probably like too insane a thing to have happened for you to be a political figure. Does that make sense? Oh, wait, hang on. Who's who here? Wait. Oh, scale filtering. Okay. I've changed it now. Oh, I see. Right, got it. So he worked... Right. I thought it was just the connection itself was a problem, but he was a campaign manager. Nicandros, thank you. Very good information. Thank you. Right, got it. Okay. Bro, what the fuck, dude? Oh, sorry, I missed this bit. I got distracted. Amy Challiner was suspended for not clearly telling colleagues that David Challiner had been charged with serious sex crimes against a child before appointing him as her election agent. A role which he remained in for 18 months. I didn't take that in properly. Right, I get it now. Sorry, I was being retarded. Okay. That's mental. What an insane thing to do. During a time in the Greens, Challiner campaigned for the party to adopt the policy of gender self-ID, silencing dissenting voices along the way. Andy Healy, a fellow member of the Greens, was one of those targeted by Challiner. Healy sought to speak out at the party's conference in 2017 on the policy of self-ID, but Challiner took exception. I joined the party specifically to root out this stuff so I could justify continuing to vote Green. The leadership is untenable, and their inaction and complicity over the Challiner scandal speaks for itself. Following the suspension, Challiner resigned, citing transphobia. Right, okay. A few months later, Challiner was back, joining the Lib Dems on a trans-right ticket. Trouble was never far away, though. In November 2019, Challiner was suspended by the party after child sex fantasies were posted on a fiancé's Twitter account. Oh, bro, what the fuck? Dude, this is insane. Fuck me. Yet so-called trans allies have bent over backwards to defend Challiner. No, that was her fiancé that did that. To defend Challiner despite evidence of Challiner's behaviour. Take what happened to Sheffield Green activist Andy Healy when he tried to highlight a post by an account with the name Amy Challiner in which he was labelled a vile turf. Fucking hell, dude. That's crazy. I'm assuming they're no longer associated with them, right? Is this them here? Yeah, look, there they are for the Lib Dems. Fucking hell, dude. That's crazy. Reddit. Fucking hell. Well, it looks like they're not standing this time around. That's a crazy story, though. Well, the thing is, I mean, obviously, you know, someone that's got that much controversy swirling around you just has got no business being anywhere near politics, you know? For what it's worth, since May... Hey, Svuxon, thank you for the 1234. For what it's worth, since May, I was training to run for MP, independent again, looking at autumn election when Rishi pulled the Thanos snap and I decided to not run. Well, Svuxon, I would love to see your political run. I think that would be fucking based, in all seriousness. But yeah. Total Anglo Menace win. Oh. Hey, Jim Rockwell, thanks for the $2. As a Yank, I want to go to Harrods and get a coat. Damn, Harrods is, yeah, Harrods is great. Pricey, very pricey, but it is good. What else have I missed anyway? What other British election memes have I been missing out on? Dude, Lord Berg is a full-on Nige tent enjoyer. You said to me this, dude. Nigel Sweep. Telegraph readers overwhelmingly thought Nigel Farage won that ITV debate. Angela Rayner in last place. Well, they would say that, wouldn't they? Yeah, I think I agree with Corbyn. Yeah. The biggest controversy is Rishi Sunak leaving a D-Day event, which is, you know, kind of interesting, but without Corbyn, you know, you got to be honest, right? When Corbyn was leading the Labour Party. With Starmer, it's very boring and safe. He's going to, you know, safely carry the Ming vase across the floor. But there's no insane Labour shit going on, you know? Yo! Futile Pathos, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships. Appreciate it. Yeah, that's a crazy... dude, it fucking makes me sick to my stomach, dude. I can't bear to think about it. Okay, let's have a look at some of these manifestos whilst we're here. We'll really get into the deep cut political shit. Here we go. We've got some explanations here.
This video is brought to you by Brilliant. When Rishi Sunak announced that he'd called the election,
Jim Rockwell,
he
thanks
was
for the
roughly
$2.
20 points behind in the polls. Even then, he knew that winning the election would require nothing short of an electoral miracle. Since then, he's been pushed not only from the centre ground by the Labour Party, but also from the right by the Reform Party. Now
he's getting wrecked.
Farage. Sunak has attempted to stem the flow of Tory voters to Reform UK by committing to policies designed specifically to appeal to those on the right of the party and older voters. For example, in the weeks leading up to the Manifesto launch, Sunak committed his party to bringing back national service, introducing a quadruple lock on the state pension by promising that the triple lock will not be taxed, and promising to scrap so-called Mickey Mouse degrees. These policies are still amongst the most significant in the Manifesto,
God, dude.
and are designed to be the ones that catch the most media attention. With the launch of the Manifesto on Tuesday morning, we found out about the other policy commitments the Tories are standing on in this election, though. It seems that Sunak is keen to be seen as a safe pair of hands, and as someone who's put the hard work in on the economy and will soon be able to cut taxes. So in this video, we're going to have a look at the main policies announced in the Manifesto, how they've been received, and whether ultimately they'll help Sunak win over disaffected voters and begin closing the gap.
What's the triple... I don't actually follow pension stuff that closely, which I should do because I'm getting old. But the triple lock is to do with... it's putting in place certain measures to protect pensions from tax or something. I don't fucking know. Something like that. Basically, it's something that you care about if you're nearing retirement age, you know? But yeah, I literally don't care. I think that anyone at that age should be lucky for what they've got and shut the fuck up. Did you know that pensioners are actually the biggest drain on social spending? People look at benefit fucking claimants and shit like that. It's actually the fucking old people. They're the ones that are actually the biggest fucking drain. So I think we all know what we need to do about that, don't we?
Gap with Labour. Before we start, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing and ringing the bell to stay in the loop and be notified when we release new videos. The Manifesto starts with a forward from Rishi Sunak, with him explaining in literally the very first paragraph how difficult the economic situation has been, and how he should be given credit for building the economic foundations that have allowed him to cut taxes. Now, with the cost of living crisis still ongoing, it's understandable why Sunak has put such a focus on the economy. Only a couple of weeks ago, YouGov found that 52% of voters listed the economy as one of their three main policy priorities. Although this has been declining as a priority, it remains the most important policy area for voters. So convincing voters you can be trusted on it is vital. Sunak's core promise in the Manifesto is that he can be trusted to cut tax.
Bro, I don't understand. They're fucking chances, dude. How on earth can you see immigration go up so high? And they're like, yeah, well, don't worry, guys. We may have overseen an enormous rise to immigration, but we will also make it come down again. What was the thing that Rishi Sunak did? He said, like, oh, immigration's come down 10% or something like that. But it was like, yeah, from a high that you created, which was higher than the year before that. Do you remember that thing?
And to be fair, he's promised to
get him out.
A fair few. Firstly, he's promised to cut national insurance to 6% by April 2027, which means it will have come down from a high of 12% at the beginning of the year. In total, they claim that this will account for a tax cut of around £1,350 for an average worker on £35,000. Longer term, the Manifesto says it's the Tories' long-term ambition, when it's affordable to do so, to keep cutting national insurance until it's gone. However, there's no timetable set out for this. They do, however, specifically pledge to abolish the main rate of national insurance for self-employed people by the end of the next Parliament.
Hey!
As expected, the Manifesto
Let's
also
go!
pledges to enhance the pension triple lock with what they call the new Triple Lock Plus, which basically commits to guaranteeing that pensioners will never pay income tax on their state pension.
Oh, there we go. There's the triple lock and the quadruple lock. Wage growth rate of inflation. I mean, you know, Literally not my concern. Don't care. I'll worry about that when I'm in my 60s. Thank you. In 5 years.
It also pledges that there'll be no new green levies or charges in order to, quote, cut the cost of net zero.
Oh, national insurance is something that you pay alongside like tax, and it basically funds like the NHS and like if you're on benefits and stuff. You know, just in the name of national insurance, right? You're paying money to the government and you're supporting the system, which then comes back to you in the event that you need it, right? Like you're off work and you need statutory sick pay or something like that, right? But yeah, I'm pretty sure most of it goes towards the NHS.
Admission when it comes to taxes is that there is no pledge to cut or abolish inheritance tax.
I've got a pool of very small pensions from when I was working, but it's only worth a few grand. So, I don't know. I need to think about that at some point. But to be honest with you, I'm just focused on buying a house at the moment. Everything's just going towards that. But yeah, I would still get my state pension, which is like, what, £164 a week, I think, or something like that. It's not a massive amount of money.
Tax, despite this being something that Sunak's government is understood to have been considering for nearly a year. Now, another of the key policies for the Tories is immigration. Sunak promised last year that he'd stop the boats, making this one of his 5 pledges, and something that people have measured his premiership against.
Dude! Do you know what, right? It's a long way away yet. But I do think that this is so bad. I remember I found an old tweet where I said, if I was a landlord, I'd redact myself. And now I'm thinking, it's actually quite a good way of, you got a nice little asset there. Your kids can take on. They can maybe live in it if they need to, or rent it out themselves, sell it if they want some cash. Dude, being a landlord, I think, is the best way to go into retirement. I don't know, dude. Is that hypocritical? I'd be a good landlord. I'd be nice. I'd be a nice one. I'd only raise rent, by a few percent each year.
Ever since. He carried the Rwanda policy over from the Johnson government and made it the cornerstone of his premiership. On this, Sunak has promised a relentless, continual process of deporting those who've crossed the channel to Rwanda, with a regular rhythm of flights starting in July, something he's been unable to do so far. Now, notably, the manifesto leaves open the possibility, without explicitly saying, that the Tories could take the UK out of the European Convention on Human Rights, saying that they will always choose our security if forced to choose between that and the jurisdiction of a...
Well, the thing is, I wouldn't want to manage it all myself. I'd get some fucking property management company to do it if I ever did do it. And they deal with all that, don't they? You pay them a couple of percent, I think, and they do everything. So as long as you can get a good one, you're probably laughing. But at the moment, I just need a house to live in. That is primary focus number 1. So, all that Raid Shadow Legends money is going into the house buying coffers. Oh. Anyway, speaking of which, guys, don't forget, download Raid Shadow Legends. We need one more person to get to level 12. After that, we'll be focused on the level 25s. I don't think we'll hit that one, but we'll definitely hit the level 12s. Fuck, I've not got the command set up. Shit! No! I totally forgot to set the command up on this. Il Dottere is at level 23. Thank you. Right, let me just post it in chat.
On legal immigration specifically, having consistently failed to meet their own aims of bringing down immigration, the Tory manifesto pledges to introduce a legally binding cap on migration that will fall every year and cannot be breached. Anyway, while this is clearly designed to appeal to right-wing voters who could be lost to reform, the Tories also appear keen to try and win back people who don't traditionally vote Tory, such as younger voters. For example, they're attempting to persuade younger voters that they're the party that can solve the housing crisis. In the manifesto, they're pledging to deliver 1.6 million new homes in England over the next Parliament, which is, probably not coincidentally, just above Labour's pledge to build 1.5 million. The Tories...
Oh my god, dude, that is so lame. Dude. Oh, 1.5 million. We're going to do 1.6, actually. Come on, dude. Where do they get these figures from? Even the Labour figure, man. Where the fuck do they pull the... Where? How and when is this going to happen, dude? Higher number equals win.
Police also say they'll permanently increase the stamp duty threshold for first-time buyers to £425,000 and launch a new help to...
Bro. It's specifically for first-time buyers. Dude, what first-time buyer is buying a property for 425,000? Unless you're in London, maybe. Dude, that's crazy. First-time buyers, normally, you're going to be looking at a place that's nowhere close to that. Well, you know, 200,000-300,000, something like that. Damn, going in for those middle classes.
Scheme for first-time buyers. In addition to these policies, under their section explaining their policies designed to provide young people with a secure future is their commitment to the reintroduction of national service, something they claim will give young people the skills and opportunities they deserve. They also explain here that they'll fund 100,000 high-quality apprenticeships for young people. The Tories explain that this will be paid for by getting rid of what they call in the manifesto poor-quality university degrees that leave young people worse off. Whether any of these policies will win young people over is not yet known, but given that only 12% of people aged between 24 and 35 said they'd vote Conservative in the last big YouGov poll, it's going to be difficult to win them round. More widely, while the Conservatives are probably hoping that the manifesto will persuade people that they can be trusted to keep the country running, many of their policies build on things they've already done in government, and they're hoping that when faced with what they refer to as a lack of a plan from Labour and their manifesto, people will opt to go with the Conservatives. However, it just doesn't seem like this is going to happen. Polls are consistently showing the Tories significantly behind Labour, and despite some assuming that this gap would inevitably tighten, it hasn't yet. With the manifesto lacking any big previously unannounced policies, it's unlikely that this will be the thing that results in a significant tightening. Now, understanding exactly what has or is going to happen here can be a little tricky, requiring you to evaluate lots of information.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. Even under Corbyn, polling obviously tightened the closer it got to the election. And in the 2017 election, I think on election day or around election day, I think Labour were even just above the Tories. Just a fraction. But then obviously after that, it went back to fucking Corbyn's Labour getting raped every day by the Tories.
From different, often partial sources. It would be sensible then to begin improving your critical thinking skills so that you can keep sharp and better understand what's...
Anyway, I feel bad because this is a great channel, but I'm completely ripping their content here, dude. Thanks for the info. Fuck your advert, bitch. No, come on. Anyway, look, there's the channel. Go and subscribe to them. They're really good, okay? I want to see Corbyn clap those Abbott cheeks. Come on now. Be sensible. Oh, Smaggle's streaming today. Hey, you guys, you got something to watch later, okay? Oh, no, am I just going to do the same for their other video? Oh, I am. TLDR News, I love you. Please don't hate me, but I'm completely leeching off you today. I'm leeching like crazy today. This is a lazy day, okay?
This video is brought to you by Brilliant. As things stand, it seems almost guaranteed that Labour will win the election, and Keir Starmer will move into number 10 Downing Street. They're clearly winning the campaign right now, and while they've had a few of their own scandals and gaffes, they're leagues ahead of Sunak's Tories. One of the main criticisms of Labour in the campaign...
Bro, the Labour scandal is like confusion over whether Diane Abbott can run as a Labour MP. That's it. That's it. It's like such nothing shit. You've got like, oh, Labour had some internal strife over a controversial politician and whether or not they'd run as Labour. That's their controversy. Conservative controversy is Rishi Sunak has left the fucking D-Day veterans on a beach in France to fuck off back home. He's left them there. They're reminding them of the fucking 40s.
Is that they're not clear.
Yeah, exactly. Guys, Keir Starmer had a beer once during COVID lockdowns, which was investigated and found to be a work event or something like that, wasn't it? While the Tories are having these fucking garden parties. God, that was so insane, man. Boris Johnson having these insane parties during lockdowns, and the right-wing press were like, oh, but look at this picture of Keir Starmer with a bottle of beer in his hand. Fucking hell, dude. Give me a break. You cannot stop Starmer. Starmer is an unstoppable force of political roboticism. Okay? It's over.
On what they would do in government. In the ITV head-to-head debate between Sunak and Starmer, this was something that Sunak actually really went in pretty hard on.
I think it was a curry, but I think an investigation determined it was part of... Wait, let's see if we can find out about it. Starmer curry. Beergate. Yeah.
Claiming multiple times that Starmer has no plan. There has, therefore, been a lot of anticipation for the manifesto, with many waiting to see what the presumed next Labour government would...
This is it here, yeah. Keir Starmer joined campaigning in Hull, then travelled to Durham, where he was set to arrive at his hotel at 6:30. He walked from there to a Labour Party campaign team in a local MP, Mary Foy's office. His deputy, Angela Rayner, and with their aides, they took part in an online event for members, gave approval for press releases and filmed campaign videos. Foy joined them. This was such cope from rightoids, dude. But yeah, it was. I think it was determined to be part of a work event because yeah, exceptions for work purposes. You know, and it's like it was very clear the context was this event they were doing for campaigning or something like that. But then you've got the Tories where it wasn't this. It was literally just you know, the Tories were partying in the garden for no good reason. It was just a party for the sake of having a party in the midst of lockdown. And they were trying to act like these were the same things. They were desperate to pin anything they possibly could on Starmer. Teflon Starmer. Teflon Keir.
Do in office. So let's have a look into this and have a look into the main promises in the manifesto, how they'd be paid for, and how they're likely to be received by the public. Before we start, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing and ringing the bell to stay in the loop and be notified when we release new videos. Now, even before the manifesto launched, the Labour Party outlined 5 so-called missions for government, something that seemed designed to rival Sunak's 5 missions for government outlined at the beginning of 2023. As we were...
Oh yeah, this was it here. Yeah, the police investigated it and found he'd done nothing wrong. What is this? It's an ad. Anyway, you get the idea. Starmer did nothing wrong.
Won't be able to go through the entire 136-page manifesto in this video. We'll instead go through each of the 5 missions and have a look specifically at what Labour has promised in relation to them in the manifesto. Now, the first mission is unsurprisingly to kickstart economic growth. More specifically, to get the UK's economic growth to the highest sustained level in the G7 by the end of Labour's first term. Broadly speaking, Labour wants to do 2 things to increase growth. Reduce regional inequality and get the state more involved in the economy. In other words, Starmer wants the UK to get back into what's often called industrial policy, where the state supports private businesses that it considers strategically or economically significant without fully nationalising them. This would put the UK in line with both the US and Europe, which have both recently rediscovered an interest in industrial policy and protectionism to cope with their various economic and geopolitical challenges, including China's controversial trade practices and Russia's war in Ukraine. Specifically, Labour wants to invest in the UK's ports, so-called gigafactories, the steel industry...
Oh my god! Based! He's going to create gigafactories. Let's go! Giga-Chad factories. What's not to like? Listen, it's interesting to see their ideas. I don't really take much stock in these things. You know, when Labour get in, they're going to make everyone gay. They're going to make everyone gay. They're going to make it illegal to date someone that isn't trans. And they're going to bring in 6 billion migrants is what's going to happen.
Carbon capture and green hydrogen. Labour have termed this policy Securenomics, and it's apparently partly modelled on what
Chase of Heaven, yumma yumma yumma
across the pond. Labour also want to increase business investment, which is conspicuously low in the UK, by reforming and simplifying both the planning and tax system. This might sound boring, but
Tips is moving to the UK
by experts is a cheap but effective policy avenue, and the UK's hyper-restrictive case-by-case planning system is one of the main causes.
Right, I need a
for
quick
both
piss,
the UK's
okay?
housing crisis and the fact
Take
that the
your
UK
Labour
struggles to
propaganda.
actually build big infrastructure projects like HS2. By reforming the planning system and reintroducing mandatory housing targets, Labour wants to build 300,000 homes a year, roughly 100,000 more than is currently being built, including by reclassifying some of the green belts. Labour also hope that investing in the UK's tech and transport infrastructure, including the UK's 5G network and the railways, which Labour want to nationalise, will help reduce regional inequality, mitigating the UK's economic dependence on London. On top of this, Labour want to deepen the devolution settlement, giving local authorities and the devolved government more money and power instead of directing everything from Westminster, which they hope will help improve growth in those areas. Labour's second mission, namely turning the UK into, quote, a clean energy superpower, is closely related to their new focus on industrial policy. In essence, Labour want to use the state to support green industry, decarbonising the UK's energy system by 2030, while simultaneously creating 650,000 new high-quality jobs. To do this, Labour will create a new publicly owned company, Great British Energy, which will spend roughly £8 billion over 5 years supporting private sector.
Honestly, listen, look, guys, I like this. I like this idea. I think this is good. Obviously, despite rumours otherwise, I'm a lefty, and I do think that nationalising industry is good. And I think that having a national energy provider is a good idea. Bro, this is based. This is exactly the kind of shit I want to be looking at. I'm going to get my energy from Great British Energy, based.
Sector energy projects, which create high-paying jobs. Labour are especially keen on nuclear power. They want to finish the...
By the way, the Tories have even done this. There's some train companies and their contractors come up and the government has taken them over. I don't know why nationalising the rail has got such a bad fucking name. Like, loads of other countries have got a national rail service and it works pretty well, right? So why not have a nationalised rail service? I mean, it makes sense. Like, what is the point of having fucking market competition in a service where you can only run one fucking train down the track at a time? It's fucking retarded. You know, you literally cannot have a competing offer for the same line at the same time. It's impossible, you know? No. The national rail. Basically, it's all individual companies that operate the actual trains, but there is a department that oversees all of that, right? I think that's the structure, isn't it? But yeah. But no, I'm all for it. I'm all for nationalising it. Because the other problem as well is there's some lines that just aren't profitable. But it doesn't mean that you shouldn't run trains down it. Like, it's a service that is essential. So, you know. Yeah, exactly. Oh my God, dude. I'm actually getting a train today. And I can't reveal too much about it. It's so expensive, bro. It's crazy. I can say that, can't I? Actually, I can't even say the time. I'm so paranoid about people figuring out where I am by triangulating my train travel time. But yeah, it is fucking insanely expensive in the UK to travel on a train. It's absurd.
The nuclear plants currently being built and invest in small modular reactors. While they're not...
Oh, wait, they're doing nuclear. Wait, what?
Over 5 years, supporting private sector energy projects, which create high-paying jobs. Labour are especially keen on nuclear power. They want to finish the
Yo, based! Thank fuck for that. Holy shit. That is so based. That's actually really good. Oh, nuclear power. Isn't it like one of the... People look at Chernobyl and go, oh, but it's really dangerous. It's like, that's like one incident out of multiple... It's so low risk, but people have got it in their heads that if they set up a nuclear reactor, it's going to fucking explode.
Nuclear plants currently being built and invest in small modular reactors. While they're not going to close down North Sea oil and gas...
Honestly, I think I agree. Put them in Scotland, because even if there's a meltdown... Because the Scottish genetics are so fucked anyway. I mean, if you've seen a Scottish person, you know, it probably won't make much difference. Like if there's any sort of like, you know, what are they called? Mutations and shit. It probably, they'll probably just shake it off.
Production, Labour say they won't issue new exploration licences. To reduce demand, Labour also wants to spend billions insulating UK homes and raise minimum energy efficiency standards, which they hope will allow the UK to reach net zero by 2050. Labour's third mission is taking back our streets. If we're being honest, this section
Oh my god, dude! Bro. He's channeling Blair.
Labour's third mission is taking back our streets.
Okay, do you guys remember ASBOs? God, that was classic, wasn't it? Remember ASBOs? Halving serious violent crime, raising confidence of police. Okay.
If we're being honest, this section is a bit light on policy detail. But broadly speaking, the idea is to increase the number of police officers on the street and toughen up sentences, especially for crimes like stalking and knife carrying. At the same time, Labour say they also want to focus on more preventative measures, basically rehashing Tony Blair's tough on crime, tough on the cause of crime mantra.
That's it. That's what I was thinking of.
Back in 1997. Labour's fourth mission is to break down the barriers to opportunity and is, in essence, their plan to reform education. Their flagship policy on this is to recruit 6,500 new teachers in so-called shortage subjects. They add that in order to retain these new teachers, they'll review the way that bursaries are allocated, although they stop short of explaining exactly how they'll do this.
Oh my god, dude. Look at this. Wow, nuclear energy is highly dangerous and unpredictable. Communists are colossal fucking retards. Great show, though. Who's seen the show? I would really recommend it. Brilliant show. I love the bit where that fireman's all mangled and mullered from radiation in the hospital bed.
Another thing Labour claim they'll fund here is another 3,000 nurseries, something they believe will enhance life chances. On top of this, though, Labour believe that free breakfast clubs for all primary schools, a protection on renters from arbitrary eviction, and the banning of zero-hour contracts will all help to confront poverty.
Dude, I feel like... Listen, I know I'm very biased. To be clear, I'm a Labour voter. I'm very biased. To be absolutely 100% clear. I just feel like if this stuff gets put in place, this is like win-win-win for me. You know, because there's no raising taxes. Good. Fucking UK-based national energy company. I'm all for that. That's based. Dude, this is just win-win-win. Let's fucking go.
Poverty. This is something that Labour appear keen on, with them pointing out that, under the Conservatives, child poverty has risen by 700,000. And finally, Labour wants to fix the NHS. Now, while they do want to do this by increasing investment...
Dude, I know you're fucking around, creep. We tried Starmer as a red Tory. Honestly, listen, anyone that doesn't like Starmer, go and vote for the Greens. They've got all the policies you want, okay? They think Israel should be destroyed. They think we should give up our nukes. They think every child should be transed. You know, they've got all the fucking shit that you want over there. Go and vote for them, okay? Meanwhile, let the adults take the reins again and fucking get this country sorted out, all right? Good luck to you.
Investment into the NHS. They've also pointed out that investment alone won't be enough. Instead, they want to introduce what they call fundamental reform.
No. Well, I think he's going to... I think one thing he's going to do is start... What is it? One of the policies that was controversial is charge VAT, value-added tax, which is, you know, a tax you pay for things that you purchase. And he wants to add that to private school fees, because at the moment they're exempt. And I think that's going to generate a certain amount of money. Oh no, the poshos are going to have to pay a bit more for their school. Oh no, what a tragedy. Sebastian and, you know, Farquhar might have to get taken out of private school. Oh no, what a tragedy. I feel so bad for them. God, let me get out on the streets and march for the upper middle class to be able to send their kids to a posh school without paying VAT. Fuck off! Pay your taxes, motherfuckers! Starmer's stormtroopers are coming! The HMRC is coming for you, motherfuckers! Open up!
One of these is to introduce AI to improve the speed and accuracy of diagnostic services. Another is to incentivize staff to carry out additional appointments outside of their normal.
Yeah, listen, look, I think I am sympathetic to people who preferred a more lefty angle for the Labour Party, but you need to live in fucking reality land. It wasn't popular. Polling sucked. Corbyn, the closest he got was gaining some seats from the Tories in 2017. Still not enough to form a majority, right? It's unrealistic. You're not being realistic to actual political power if you're still pushing this Corbynite bullshit now, okay? Like, Starmer has moved the Labour Party from getting raped by the Tories to actually dominating the Tories. Yes, the Tories have had their own political scandals, but you cannot dismiss the work that Starmer has done to move it to a place where the general populace is more accepting and interested in actually voting for fucking Labour. And this is right up the street of a lot of people, I'm certain, you know?
Working hours, something they claim will help contribute to an extra 40,000 appointments every week, or about 2 million extra a year. On mental health, Labour have promised to recruit an additional 8,500 staff trained to help both adults and children with their mental health, something that they hope will reduce lives lost to suicide. To complement this, they also claim that they'll modernise the Mental Health Act, as they claim it's out of date and discriminates against black people.
Okay, guys, ignore that bit. Don't worry about that. They got to have a bit of that in there. A bit of woke stuff sprinkled in, okay? Don't worry about that.
Much more likely to be detained than others. So, all in all, Labour's manifesto appears to build on the promise that they've already made in the last few weeks.
Okay, listen, guys, right? I've got to be honest with you. Time to sweep for Labour. Okay, come on. I don't want to get banned, okay? I was going to say something racist, but let's just chill out.
Weeks and months. There were no huge bombshells included within it, and it appears to be a moderate one, specifically designed to try and convince voters that they can be trusted with the country for the next 5 years. Now, understanding exactly what has or is going to happen...
Well, I think the argument would be that there's some sort of implicit bias that an angry, mentally ill black person is considered a bigger threat than an angry, mentally ill white person. And that is likely why they're claiming they need to do this thing. But, dude, listen, okay? I literally... Listen, that is good compared to the fucking Labour Party of old, okay? Holy shit, man. A little sprinkling of woke shit is way preferable to what it was like in 2019.
Here can be a little tricky, requiring you to evaluate lots of information from different, often...
All I'm going to say is, on average, a black guy running after you is likely to run quicker than a white guy, okay? Exactly that. It's the fast twitch muscle fibers are running a little bit hotter in a black than a white, all right?
Partial sources. It would be sensible then to begin improving your critical thinking.
All I'm saying is, if you said to me, you've got to outrun someone, do you want it to be a black person or a white person? I'm obviously picking fucking white every time. At least I've got some small, slim semblance of hope versus some absolutely enormous fucking black dude. God, what am I doing, dude? Oh, I'm losing it. No, it's not. Look, there it is. It's not broken.
Skills so that you can keep sharp and better understand.
Right, I do need to go soon, but who wants to laugh? Let's have a laugh, shall we? Let's see what the Lib Dem one is. Let's have a bloody good laugh, shall we? Okay, we're going to go back to the same well.
This video is brought to you by Brilliant.
Dude, I hope this guy doesn't mind this. These videos are just too good. They're very good, very clear. I'm just being a full-blown leech today.
Liberal Democrats have been having a great campaign so far. The total collapse in the Conservatives' poll ratings and a tacit non-aggression pact with Keir Starmer's Labour Party mean that, at least according to the Financial Times' poll aggregator, they're currently on track to win about 35 seats, about 4 times as many as they won in 2019. The Britain Elects poll tracker, which assumes more tactical voting between Labour and Lib Dem voters, thinks things are going even better for them and are currently expected to win about 60 seats. The Lib Dems leader, Ed Davey, has spent most of the first few weeks performing eye-catching stunts to get the media's attention, including falling off a paddleboard, going down water slides and drumming along to We Will Rock You in a care home.
Bro, he's just having a fucking laugh, isn't he? He's just fucking around, this guy. Dude. It's just a jolly for him. No troubles in the world. He's having a holiday.
While some people think that this makes him look unserious, it's at least got the Lib Dems more airtime than usual. And yesterday, Davey got the chance to finally do some quote-unquote serious politics when he published the Lib Dems Manifesto. So in this video, we're going to have a look at what's actually in the Lib Dems Manifesto and whether it will be popular. Before we start, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing and ringing the bell to stay in the loop and be notified when we release new videos. Now, at 116 pages long, we're not going to be able to go through absolutely every pledge in this video, so instead we'll just go through the main pledges. It's claimed in the foreword that the 5 key themes of the manifesto are the promises of a fair deal on the economy, on public services and on the environment, the promise of a strong United Kingdom,
yeah, I've heard a bit about it, which I'm going to freak out about,
and the promise to create a truly fair democracy. So let's go through these in turn. On the economy, the Lib Dems seem to advocate for a lot more state control in order to solve problems.
Okay.
For instance, they promise to tackle rising food prices through a national food strategy and to get mortgage rates down through careful economic management.
Okay. What does that mean? Bro, we're sounding a little bit too communist for my tastes. Breadlines? Hello, breadline? No, I don't know what that means, to be honest.
They also, though, use this...
Getting mortgage under control through careful economic management. Okay.
Section of the manifesto to really go on the offensive against the Tories, with them claiming that their botched Brexit deal has badly damaged the economy.
Oh, no.
And they failed to deliver much-needed investment. As such...
Dude, I don't follow economics nearly closely enough ever because it's boring as fuck. But is it true that Brexit has been that damaging to us? Because to be honest with you, I don't really, it doesn't really affect me. I need to watch a video about it probably. Because yeah, it's like lockdowns hit us pretty hard. The Ukraine war, energy prices were fucking insane for a while. But that's not really EU necessarily. That's just Ukraine, Russia popping off. Anyway, I don't want to comment too much because I can't say one way or another, but the solution these guys propose is retarded, which we'll see.
They claim that in order to get the economy back on track, we should repair the broken relationship with Europe, something that would help to encourage investment. The attack on the Tories doesn't stop there, though. The Lib Dems are keen to point out how high taxes are under the Conservatives, and promise to focus instead on taxing big banks and imposing a one-off windfall tax on the super profits of oil and gas producers and traders. They also claim that they'll close loopholes in capital gains tax, and that, in total, this, alongside reversing tax cuts for big banks, will raise about £9 billion. This money would then be used to help pay for their plan for public services. Now, on the NHS, they promise to give everyone the right to see a GP within 7 days, or within 24 hours if they need to, something that will be achieved by employing an extra 8,000 GPs. Additionally, the Lib Dems have promised to boost cancer survival rates by introducing a guarantee for 100% of patients to start treatment for cancer within 62 days from their urgent referral. On social care, they promised to introduce free personal care.
Don't have cancer, don't care. Next.
Based on a model introduced by the Lib Dems in Scotland in 2002. They've also promised to increase the carers' minimum wage, create a cross-party commission to reach a long-term agreement on social care funding, and give more rights, such as a statutory guarantee of regular respite breaks, to unpaid carers. In fact, Davy's own personal situation, which sees him care for his disabled son, lends the Lib Dems some credibility on.
Okay, I'm trying not to... Oh, okay, come on, let's not make any comments about the disabled son. That's a bit much.
His story was featured in a Lib Dem campaign video, and it was very well received by people on all sides of the political spectrum. However, questions have already been raised about whether the Lib Dems will be able to raise enough money to pay for all of this. Nick Triggle, the BBC's health correspondent, pointed out that the £9 billion figure we mentioned earlier is just a fraction of what goes on public health and some social care, with the NHS budget increasing by about £10 billion in recent years in cash terms. Even this has not been able to keep up with inflation, though.
There we go.
Anyway, let's move on to the next key area for the Lib Dems, the environment. Keen to appeal to younger voters, the Lib Dems...
Bro, did he not mention it? Apparently the Lib Dems want to eventually rejoin the EU. Is that right? They want to rejoin... I think they want to rejoin the single market and then eventually rejoin the EU in totality. Is that right?
Been rather radical here, promising to cut greenhouse gas emissions.
Would you ever apply to being honest asked question? No. At this stage in my career, okay, 342 views on a politics stream. I would want to be a panelist on Question Time. That's my next goal.
To net zero by 2045 at the latest. They've announced a bunch of smaller policy to help us get there. For example, by creating a new 10-year emergency home upgrade programme.
Dude, they've had Russell Brand on there, eh? They've had a rapist on before. Wait, wait, what? Hang on a minute. Nah, come on, that's absurd. That's crazy.
Investment into renewable energy and the creation of a new Chief Secretary for Sustainability in the Treasury. Included in this section too is the promise to hold big companies to account by giving them a duty to protect the environment. This promise would see water companies be banned from dumping more sewage into rivers. The next section is the Lib Dems' foreign policy. The largest commitment here is the promise to immediately fix our broken relationship with Europe.
Here we go.
Specifically by coming to a new comprehensive trade agreement, which removes as many trade barriers as possible. They also promise, albeit on page 112 of their manifesto, that they'd aim to rejoin the single market at some point in the future. On global conflicts, the Lib Dems promise to continue to back Ukraine and to...
I don't have a problem with having strong trade ties with, the EU, but I do not want any bullshit. The Brexit was horrendous, okay? The whole disaster. It was the most disastrous and... divisive political issue, maybe in my lifetime, my adult lifetime at least, I think. I just do not want any of that again. Like, it was horrible, And I think we're better off dealing with what we've got and moving forward rather than trying to have the argument again. It just feels like we only recently had the whole rigmarole of it. Well, I suppose it was, 8 years ago now. But even so, it's still like within recent memory. I just do not want to fucking go through that again. God, I remember the moment we left, all these... God, those pro-EU accounts are such cancer. And they're immediately like, let's rejoin. Bro, we've just left. What are you on about? It's done. Stop coping. Just move forward.
Advocate for an immediate bilateral ceasefire between Israel and Gaza. The Lib Dems have also stated their support for the two-state solution. So, lastly, it's worth going through what the Lib Dems have...
Dude, what? That's actually pretty good. I look just like him, don't I? Queeman, I agree with you, mate. I don't like the fact we left the EU, okay? I think we should have remained. 100% agree with you. But I just feel like at this stage, like reversing that is just not a viable option. It's done. We need to move forward with what we got in whatever way we can.
To promise to do on the Constitution. In essence, there are three major changes the Lib Dems are promising to make here. The first is to give the vote to 16 and 17-year-olds. The second is to change the voting system to a proportional one, although they've not specified which one. And the third is to reform the House of Lords, although, other than a commitment to give them a proper democratic mandate, it's not clear how they do this. So, it's clear not only in this section, but throughout the manifesto, that the Liberal Democrats are trying to target the more socially liberal.
Because the thing is as well is, if we rejoin, it's going to be the equivalent of Homer Simpson going through the little tunnel to get back to Burns. Oh, come crawling back of you. We're going to get raped. We're not going to get the same juicy spot that we had before.
And those disaffected by the Conservatives. The Lib Dem leadership has already been clear that their top task is to defeat the Tories, and that while there won't be any formal pacts with Labour, they won't be putting in too much effort into taking seats from them. Perhaps then the manifesto is designed to try and take seats off the Tories by appealing to younger voters in their constituencies. While not fitting neatly into one of the policy areas we've covered in this video, it's worth pointing out that the Lib Dems are, once again, promising to legalise cannabis. This, combined with electoral reform, votes for 60...
No! Make cannabis more illegal. Fuck the stoners, okay? Lay about fucking retards, right? Make possession of a tiny scrap of cannabis punishable by death.
16 and 17-year-olds and a closer relationship with the EU will really appeal to the young. We'll have to see how this plays out for them, though, in the coming weeks. Now,
where's fucking Peter Hitchens?
What has or is going to happen here can be a little tricky, requiring you to evaluate lots of information from different, often partial sources. It would be sensible then to begin improving...
Anyway, I think that is literally, you know, all the main politics stuff there. I don't know if there's much else that's happened that's worth talking about. I need to go soon anyway. But no, that was good. That was a pretty good chunk of British politics. I enjoyed that. One more level 12. Well, I'm sure someone will do it whilst I'm you know, away. If something you know, if I'm around tomorrow and there's something crazy happening, like some massive drama pops off that I'm interested in, and I'm around, maybe I'll stream. But dude, it just feels like nothing's happening at the moment of any meaningful significance. It's all just shit. I just want there to be something crazy pop off. It's not a depression arc. I'm fine. I'm great. Things are going wonderfully. I'm about to go and, you know, enjoy summer. I feel like I've not really done anything for summer yet. I've just been here streaming for you lovely people. Yeah, that's so true. Like, there's so much happened in the first quarter of the year. It was all packed in so tightly. Dude, we went from Jewish tunnels to Mama Max to fucking, you know, Vosh's lolly leak. No, I'm not doing drugs. There's no drugs happening. Okay, it is a very, you know. Based. It's not even summer yet. Oh yeah, summer technically starts in July. Well, you know, the sunny weather, I should say. It's white boy summer, you know? But I can't help it. I'm literally addicted to doing this. I can't, I'm already thinking like, oh, wow, you know, if I get back early, I can, no. No. I need to stop. It's time to stop. You know, we don't get much sun, and it looks like it's going to be sunny the next couple of days, so. Yes, touch grass, exactly. I need to touch grass. Work will set you free. Where have I heard that before? Dude, it's so insane. You know. Like, things are going so well, but I just always think, oh, if I take my foot off the gas for 1 second, it's all going to come crumbling down. I'll be destitute, raped in a ditch. Sucking off people for cash. Back to the mind streamer, man. But yeah, there's literally nothing that I'm really going to miss, you know? And anything that does happen, I can just do it on Sunday when I'm back. I'm definitely be back Sunday, 100%. Maybe you could stream that, dude. Oh. But yeah, no, it should be good. You'll be on the street raving about Gok and Tipster. This dude is spiraling, dude. Oh. But no, you guys will be fine. I'm sure there's plenty of other content going on, isn't there? Well, is there actually? You got Queeman's holding up the. Wait a second! Isn't Tom doing some document about sassafras? You guys love a bit of Tom Tent, don't you? That'll be good. I'm sure Queeman will be over that like white on rice. Yeah, apparently he's doing some document. I don't know, dude. Wait till August, you're going to Ukraine. Oh no. I need to get well, I don't know if I will set up like a second account. I want to be able to chat sometimes in streams that I watch, but you know, this is going to sound, dude, it's not meant to sound like big-headed or anything, okay? But Jesus Christ, man, sometimes people just need to chill a bit. People act like you're a fucking celebrity walking into a club and they're like, oh, hey, how's it going? Bro, it's so crazy to me. I watched this again, dude. I watched this again the other day, just the intro, because it was so funny to me. It's like, he's got it in his head that his drama is of such interest to people. This one about sulfur. God, it's just it makes my skin crawl the way he does this like slick style editing that looks a bit shit anyway on some dumb drama no one fucking cares about. Dude, it's so crazy to me.
Timeline.
Dude, look at this editing,
like the
man.
pattern that I'm having an issue with is
I'm gonna cringe again.
I want you to talk to me about these
the
things.
music.
I want you to tell me
dude,
about
it's
it.
so
I
bad.
want to be able to have a
Look at
conversation
it.
with you about it. But it feels like I'm just not allowed to because you don't tell me, but you do go tell a bunch of other people.
Yeah,
publicly.
man.
So
Look at the little slick editing, and then you got the words, and then publicly resonates. Boom. Like, bro, no one fucking cares about your stupid drama with sulfur, dude. Like, if anything, people are more on sulfur's side because you're an insufferable little freak.
that I know you feel this way.
He's
I'm
pulsing.
just not able to talk to you about it. I'm not able to have a conversation with you, and I'm never able to either defend myself or apologize or anything. I'm just not capable because everybody that I try to talk to about these things,
this is what happens when you feed a talentless retard Destiny content for fucking years. This is the fucking output, right? He thinks that his drama is of interest to the broad, his interpersonal drama shit is of this broad interest. When it's like, no one fucking cares, dude. Who cares about your gay drama with some fucking lesbian that you tried to rizz up in DMs? No charisma, dude. I can't help myself, dude. It's so insufferable.
will not have the conversation with me, but they will have it with everyone else. What is the more blunt statement with the nuance that actually accurately describes what it is you meant to?
And Sulfur is saying that blunt statement with the nuance is the DM
I really would
that
like
she sent
her to. Yes, but that we're talking about public. Obviously, what I said in public is different than the conversation that her and I had in DMs, and she wanted me to bluntly say in public that it was different. I am asking for the same courtesy that...
Bro, could you imagine? I only know about this because I covered it on stream. Could you imagine if you didn't know anything about this and you were tuning into this guy for the first time and he was talking about this? You'd be totally bemused. You'd be like, what is this guy on about? This is fucking dumb. Fuck me, dude. You got to have some sort of broader appeal than just, oh, I got into this dumb drama with some person from Discord, you know?
If she's saying, okay, what I said in chat doesn't accurately describe things, I am asking for the same courtesy. Yes.
All right, I'll drag up the logs then real quick.
I mean, all of this is kind of whatever, right?
Well, no, it's not.
Yes, correct. Sofa's correct. It is.
All of this is kind of whatever, right?
I love the way the voice pop up and it's like, no, yeah, she's right. This is whatever. Who cares about this stupid drama, bro? Why did you cut a video out of this?
Well, no, it's not, because this is literally what it is that my issue was. This is the whole, yes.
Like, dude.
Literally what it is
Bro,
my issue was. This is
no one knows who this is, dude. No one knows who this is. Who cares? It's so insane to me. She is just like a person that hangs about on Discord and talks to people and shit. And he's putting her up like it's, some person of some public knowledge that you should care that is two-faced. Mental. And by the way, in this situation, I mean, I'm sure there's like some criticisms you could send Sulphur's way. You know, like she was too weak-willed with him and wasn't strong enough at the time to like say it straight to his face I was being fucking retarded and creepy. But Tom definitely acted inappropriately. Like, there's no two ways about it, you know? This person, a public lesbian, he was trying to rizz up in DMs to the point of being really pushy. He was extremely pushy with her, you know? To a fucking lesbian, dude. He was basically doing the whole, you know, he might as well have been doing the oh, well, maybe you just haven't got the right guy yet, you know? That sort of fucking meme. Fuck me, dude. And then at the end, he does this thing where he acts like her going and talking shit about him is some own.
Sure. The characterization of lying, it's gone. Like,
Cool.
Fine.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, fine. All right.
I'm not trying to,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to mischaracterize. I'm just,
Yeah,
I don't think you are. I don't even.
You do, otherwise you wouldn't say it. So, like, let's actually, no, don't.
Dude, Sulphur just got battered into submission after an hour of endless looping about bullshit no one cares about.
Fucking ensure.
Eventually relents.
Right behavior. So.
And then does this thing where, dude.
Okay. Cool.
All right, thank you.
I'm gonna bring in Sunday.
Immediately after leaving the call. Queeman. Yep. I did hear on the grapevine that was oh my god, dude. Yes, I did hear that Sick and Sassafras are apparently dating. And, you know, I think it explains some of the aggressiveness with which... I actually found out about it a little while ago, and I was covering the situation, obviously, the other day. And I didn't think of this, but I said out loud, I was like, oh, I wonder why Sick is going after Tom so hard over this stuff. And then I thought, without saying it, I thought, oh, okay, I can't say that. That's, you know, not publicly known. But yeah, that was why. It's because they were in, you know, some sort of tryst. I've got to be honest with you. Look, as long as Sick can stay off his drunken streams, you know, I think I think he'll be fine. But he's not cut out for like public shit. Do you know what I mean? Clearly. Yes, Sick's most recent controversy is drunkenly driving and being on drugs whilst trying to talk to people in spicy chat. These people all disgust me. Queeman, everyone disgusts you, okay? Literally, I can't think of a single person that does not disgust you. They were all friends 6 months ago, gunt guarding each other, and now they want to kill each other. Yeah, I see what you mean there. That is a bit annoying, isn't it? Like this, like, look, I definitely side with Sulphur in this drama. But it is kind of insane that this happened back in October. And it's only now that it's all broken down that she's like, yeah, he's actually really pushy. Like, you should have said that at the time and brought that forward at the time, you know? Statute of limitations or some shit, I don't know. But Sulphur definitely got wronged in this. Like, there's no two ways about it. Someone said, I can't remember where I saw this, but someone said something about Mantis. It was like, and Mantis finally got a wish. She's like queen of like a, you know, nuclear wasteland of an empire now. And it's so true, isn't it? You know? Like, Tom's in the fucking toilet, essentially. Is Mantis, like, officially Tom's girlfriend or something now? Is that right? Empire of Dirt, yeah. Is that not so true, though? Yo! Let's go! But yeah. Anyway, guys, I need to go in a sec. No, wait, Creeman. No. Wait, slow down. Okay, that was made about Wendigoon. Okay, that was made about Wendigoon, not sick. Okay. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching my little side election stream. I'll do probably a couple more of these in the lead up to the election. I do want to get a couple more gaming streams in. But dude, it's just okay. I don't want to pull the Assam meme. It's obviously, but dude, it gets to like 9-10 p.m. my time, and I'm just like, oh, I just want to end stream and go to bed. I've been waking up at like 6-7 o'clock. My schedule, my sleep schedule, and everything is great, but it's not conducive to streaming for like endless hours. Yeah, I do want to catch maybe some more of the debates. Also, I want to do. I'm probably going to do an overnight election thing or something. Maybe we'll see. Creeman is a wannabe Godwinson without the talent, charisma, or creative writing. Dude, listen. Obviously, I'm a Creeman stan. But dude, I think he's doing perfectly great. No, he's got like 250, 300 viewers, and obviously, that's not even. Sometimes that could be when I don't even raid him. He's got that. He just attracts that by himself. Bro, he has blown out every single little glup shito streamer into fucking oblivion. Tom, Stardust, Stardurt. I don't know who. I can't even think of the others. Dude, he mogs them all combined. He's been pulling some strings with his fellow, you-know-whats at YouTube. Okay, come on, boost me in the algorithm. Mr. Goldberg, Mr. Goldberg, please, just pump me in the algo a bit. Come on. I was at your Shabbat or whatever. Don't fucking... Oh. But no, listen, it's great. I just don't want people to be like, oh, Creeman's a chud orbiter or something like that. Because it's like, dude, I just find it so disrespectful. I know you're not going to care about that. About disrespect. It's just so fucked to me. It's like people are their own entity, Like, it's so annoying. I don't even agree with everything he says. Sometimes he's, he hates normal people too much. Like fucking, like Wendigoon. No, I don't mind. Listen, I don't mind. Like Stylo saying he's my son and shit. It's just funny memes, No, I agree with that. To be honest with you, I think we do need some haters. Like people are very nice and very diplomatic and stuff, which is great. But we do need haters. We need raw haters out there. That is true. You'll be my controlled opposition. Yeah, I mean, look, obviously it probably is a bit personal because I was lumped with, the Destiny Orbiter shit for a long time. Even after I, stopped going on his stream and as much as I didn't even go on that much in the first place, but certainly stopped covering as much of his content. Even it follows you for a while, and yeah, it's just annoying. It's like, bro, like, we're separate entities. Escape the slave plantation. But no, it's things are going really well. So thank you for supporting me, guys. I'm going to go now. Is anyone live? I don't think I've got many people that I subscribe to on this channel to raid. Made it out of the orbit. Well, the thing is like, you know, yeah, there is a limit on the growth you can do in that sort of when you're tailing or, you know, in someone else's sort of community like that. It definitely is best to kind of go out on your own and grow in your own direction. I definitely recommend it. TalkSport is live. Yeah, guys, I'm going to a pride parade. I'm going to a pride parade to see how much gawk I can gawk at. No, I'm just kidding. That's a joke. I'm not even Thursday even a pride parade. Maybe there's some sort of Palestine protest. Who knows? Maybe there's something like that going on. Raid Radio 5 Live. Dude, who is even live? Radio. Name a channel and I'll just raid them. Name the funniest channel you can think of that's live. It's Sky News. Can I raid Sky News? Yo! Al Jazeera! Let's go! Okay. I'm going to raid Al Jazeera. Oh, I can't see anyone else live, so I don't know what to do. Right, guys. Okay, thanks very much. Right. Have fun, guys. Oh, Kin Not Kin's live. Can I raid him? I'd rather give it to some viewership to someone rather than just some random shit. I can't find his channel. Oh, yes, I can. There we go. I'll raid Kin Not Kin. Right, guys. So yeah, I'll be back on Sunday. Okay. Now, if a nuclear weapon goes off, if iDubbbz rapes, or I don't know, some shit, maybe I'll go live. But other than that, I'll be back on Sunday. Okay. So assume I'm back on Sunday. Just assume I'm back on Sunday. Thanks very much. Much love. Godspeed. Have fun. And I'll see you on Sunday. Okay. See you then. Goodbye. Good luck and Godspeed. Goodbye. Goodbye.